This episode of the Grappler Union podcast is brought to you by BJJTees. Go to bjjtees.com, enter the promo code Grappler Union, and save 10% off all your jiu-jitsu apparel. Go to bjjtees.com today.
This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by Strychnine Jiu-Jitsu, makers of vintage-inspired tees, hoodies, and rash guards. Go to strychnine.co, that's STRYCH9.co, and use the promo code UNION at checkout to receive 20% off your online order.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Grappler Union podcast. Paul Maloney alongside Anthony Zito. On this episode, we have Matt Leighton in studio. Matt's a black belt under Mark Vives. Also in studio is Matt's friend, Brian James, who's a documentary filmmaker. Enjoy.
I hate the 6 minutes. It's what happens in that 6 minutes.
You taught me using any technique that works. Never to limit myself to one style. Keep an open mind.
We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
In order to become more peaceful, in order for you to become better and strategize your life.
All right, we're live.
New.
so
Matt Leighton
alive.
in the house.
Yeah.
What's up, Matt?
Dude,
Not
fantastic performance at Fight to Win in Houston, man.
Thank you.
That was unreal.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a tough fight.
That was a scrap.
It was great. It was really tough. I knew he'd be tough, and I don't know if he knew I was going to be tough, but I was ready for
Think he was sleeping on you?
You know what? I don't think so, him personally, but I bet a lot of people watching probably were.
Okay.
You can just tell when you go to these places, like these cities, for either an open or super fight, you go, and you can just tell by people's like kind of reaction to the match or the beginning of the match, whether they think, you know, you're a game opponent or not. Right. And I could tell like right away, like nobody knew who I was. I think a lot of people thought he was going to make quick work of me, and then thankfully wasn't the case. So, but
I mean, before that, you were what, 3-0 on the Fight to Win stage?
I was 3-0. Yeah,
That made you 4-0.
That made me 4-0. Mm-hmm.
So what did you say to Seth after that? Anything like?
Well, I told Seth, so they have the Denver show and the Chicago show back to back. And now in this previous Chicago show I ended up fighting Nick Calvanese from Jared Weiner School. But I was slated to fight a local guy, Steve Patterson. And Steve had messaged me before Seth messaged me. He was like, hey, man, I really want to get this fight. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Like, I've never fought with Steve. I think we're about the same weight. The fight makes a lot of sense. Steve got hurt about a week or two before the show, separated his shoulder, super unfortunate accident. They brought in Nick. I did the fight with Nick, won, thank God. Moving forward, I was like, well, I still want to fight with Steve. Steve, I'm sure, still wants to fight with me. So I was like, let me get Steve in Chicago and then whoever the next week in Denver, because I thought it'd be really cool to do back-to-back shows. And so I told Seth that, and he was like, you know, we'll do what makes sense. And he alluded to maybe someone, you know, bigger, like a big name, maybe even for the title against whoever holds the title. I think it's actually Rafael Lovato. Oh. But he alluded to that, and I'm like, ooh, it's deep waters.
That's deep.
But I'm game.
Dude, you get
crazy.
You win that fight.
That's exciting.
You're getting Gordon Ryan in the gi.
Yeah.
You're gonna be Gordon's first gi match.
Yeah. That's definitely some big time clout right there. But yeah,
Wow. And Rafael Lovato's coming in April 22nd.
Is he? Is he doing a seminar?
Yeah, at P3.
You said 22nd or 27th?
22nd.
22nd. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I would not.
How much does he weigh?
You know what? I think he weighs about.
He's in the 80s, right? 180 something?
No, much heavier.
Is he?
I think he does. No, he does. He fights in Bellator at 85.
He fights in Bellator at 85.
Yeah,
so
he cuts probably 25 pounds for MMA fights.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying he would fight him at 185.
We'd fight at 200. I walk
200.
around like 195, and I've done a lot of these fight to wins at either 195 or 200, and I think
Lovato's not cutting 25 pounds for a fight to win match.
Oh, okay.
No, not against me.
Yeah. No, okay. No, but that'd be silly. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up, like, when I was a white belt, I saw, like, Lovato and Gracie Mack. And I remember back then, this was in 2009, 2010, he was really skinny. And then I think he started gearing up for MMA and getting ready for MMA. And he just put on mass naturally. And,
Naturally?
I mean, like,
What does that mean?
as I think that the training becomes heavier, that he's probably doing a lot more wrestling. He's obviously doing a lot more stand up.
Right.
And so I think it was easier for him to just become a little bit bigger so that he could cut down. Cause that's the thing people do in MMA. Obviously they like get way bigger than the weight class, then come down.
Why do you think that is? Just because
I think the train honestly
doesn't make sense.
I think the training's heavier on the training just takes a lot more of a toll on your body. So if Lovato is walking around, let's use him as an example. If he's walking around at 185, if he's training with bigger guys who are bigger than him, 200, it's like he's going to be more prone to injury, I think, generally. But if he's 220, now it's hard to find guys that are like 250 who are good. He's probably still going to be training with guys between 180 and 220. Right. But now he's the heaviest guy, if not, he's really close to the top of the training room. So his, him being, it's less likely he's going to get injured training MMA. And that's like the thing, at least
I think that weight cut, because you're not cutting that weight, you're doing it like what, a 6-week camp, right? So normally that starts your weight cut, what, like 2 weeks out, maybe?
I think everybody does it different, but
right.
you could say 2 weeks out, yeah.
But during that weight cut, your body's going through some changes, and you're probably more prone to getting an accident in that 2-week period than in anything.
I think guys compensate for that, though.
Do they?
You know what I mean?
I think they
change the training.
Not going hard the last 2 weeks.
Maybe not necessarily not going hard, but I think they're not going to be as sloppy as they are normally. Like, like anything, even jiu-jitsu, it's like, 2-3 weeks before tournament, I'm going to train as hard as I can. I'm going to get as tired as I can. At the end of the rounds, I'm going to be, huffing and puffing, barely can do anything. And, 1 week before the tournament, it's like, I'm not going to do that necessarily. I'm still going to train really hard, but it's like, I might hone in and train with people who might be a little lighter or something. And I'd imagine for MMA they do the same. They kind of hone in the training and they still train hard, but they're not as reckless per se. It's not like balls to the wall, train as hard as you can. Yeah.
Gotcha. And we got your boy Brian here.
We have Brian.
So Matt's got like a whole documentary crew following him around.
Yeah.
There's like a whole crew in the studio right here filming this.
7 people. Yeah.
So what's going on? What's this project you guys are doing?
So Brian is filming a documentary, basically focusing on me and my training leading up to the Chicago Open.
Okay.
Chicago Open is just an event, but it was like a good one because obviously he can travel with me here. He can film the tournament. We don't have to spend a bunch to like fly him, somewhere else. Whereas like another tournament we would. So it was like perfect time. Brandon, you want to talk about it a little bit more?
Yeah.
Elaborate.
So, you want me to talk about the whole process of it, or like from beginning, or what?
Just like generally, like
So like when did you guys start shooting this? Like how? Yeah, I've got questions. Yeah, but just go ahead.
So we started shooting like February 7th, I think, the first or second Tuesday of February. And I've shot most Tuesday practices, Friday open mats, some weekend stuff.
Yeah, some random days in between.
Up until now.
Okay, wow. So, and how long are you expecting this doc to be?
It's probably going to... I'm shooting for like 20, 25 minutes.
25 minutes. So, have you done a documentary before?
Smaller things.
Things. So, how much actual footage do you need in order to get 25 minutes? As far as the editing down process and cutting this?
It depends on how much you want to balance like training to like lifestyle, because we've gone through like drive-thrus, getting food.
Right.
Because he doesn't really like diet much. We went to a bar and shot watching the Rockhold Romero fight.
Okay.
So it's going to be lifestyle stuff with him teaching at the club mixed with like training montages of him rolling with brown belts.
Were you out in Houston too?
No.
That would have been
Couldn't get him out there.
I'm a senior at the University of Iowa, so
you're gonna have to splice in some of that flow grappling footage.
Just cut it. Yeah,
that blurry, the blurry buffering flow footage.
Yeah,
that's cool. And we going to Sundance, boys, or what's going on?
That's the goal.
Yeah?
That's the goal. Yeah.
Their short form documentary category. Oh yeah.
And you train too, Brian?
Yeah.
What belt rank are you?
I'm a white belt.
Nice.
I
Welcome.
yeah. Thanks.
Welcome
Been
to the
training
sport.
for like a year and a half. So
Nice.
Thanks.
Damn.
Yeah.
But,
I'm always getting tattooed though, so it's rough. And then filming this as well, it keeps me off the mats. But
Gotcha.
I love to when I can.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Zito missed training. Zito missed a week. I think the first week you've missed since you started jiu-jitsu
missed a week.
because of your tattoo.
It wasn't a week.
It wasn't?
I missed one day.
I thought you were taking a whole week off.
I was gonna take a whole week off. Well, because I
How-
thought that's what
how
you
big is
needed to
it?
do.
How big is it?
It's just well, it's not finished, but
Oh, okay.
it was just this here. Then
You,
got-
you
now I
wait.
got
You took
finished.
less than a week off.
I took one.
for that?
So I went in a Saturday night, and then I don't train Sundays. Monday I took off. Tuesday I don't train, and I was back on the mats on Wednesday. So
full rolling and
full
everything?
rolling and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah. You know what?
I don't do that.
I can't. Andre said, Andre, I won't be here Monday. I'm going to get tattooed. I won't be here this week. I'm going to tattoo on Saturday night. He was, oh, you'll be back Wednesday. I'm back Wednesday. If he says I come back Wednesday, I was there. I'm like, all right, okay, Wednesday it is.
Right.
I came back Wednesday. I'm like, all right. He's like, yeah, just wear a long rash guard. You got the wrap on. I'm like, yeah, I got the Sanadern on it. And he's like, okay, beautiful.
There you
This
go.
felt great.
There you go.
I mean, it
Damn,
felt
I
like
should've been
it felt
doing
like
that.
It felt like sunburn. Really,
Yeah.
this is my 1st tattoo, so it
Okay.
kind of just felt like sunburn. Like if someone grabbed it, I'm like, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, but it's like an open wound. You don't want to get
Yeah,
staph or
exactly.
something.
Yeah.
what
well,
I
no,
mean?
but I had that like
And
it's
arm
called
mats are
Sanoderm.
disgusting.
Oh yeah, it's weird. Talk about that.
At the
But
university,
that
so.
thing is that Sanoderm is really good. It like
Okay.
covers it completely.
Stays on, huh?
Stays on.
Wow.
It was like to get that off is like peels off like
Yeah.
take your skin with it.
Ugh.
It's really, but it's good.
Okay.
So my next appointment is next week to finish this. So it'll be Saturday night, next week Saturday. So
There you
excited.
go.
Any
Excited to get
tattoos,
there.
Matt?
No, none.
Can't
Yeah,
get
just
tattoos,
no,
no
dude,
way.
no way.
Come on.
Face tat.
A face tat. Yeah.
right?
That's it.
Yeah. That's what I need to get on.
The Mike Tyson.
I haven't.
I think it's cooler now if you don't have tattoos.
I totally agree.
I'm
That's
just
the
like,
new tattoo.
That's
Is
the new
not
tattoo.
having
You're like,
tattoos.
"Dude, that guy stands out so much. He has no tattoos.
Right.
It's
Look at
scary.
that.
I broke.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
I
like
think it is.
everybody's sleeved up now. Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's popular.
Matt, me and you are cool, bro.
We're cool. There you go.
Wait, he got his removed. Don't let him fool you.
I
He
had-
had a tattoo from
Hey,
many,
that
many
hurts
years.
more though. That's more impressive.
It was on my back, and I got it when I was 18.
It was a tramp stamp.
A tramp stamp. That's rough.
It was in between my shoulder blades.
Brutal. Yeah, I haven't. I'm interested in getting a tattoo, but I just haven't come up with an original idea yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to throw something on there. It's one of those things where like you want it to be content heavy and like really. You know, you really want it. You can't just kind of want. I feel like. I guess there's people who kind of just get them to get them, but
Yeah, or not. Or just
yeah.
hang on to the
Or just
$500
don't-
bucks.
Yeah,
You
just
know what I
hang on
mean?
to it. Yeah.
It took me. I was thinking about this tattoo for over 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, I was contemplating it and finally just worked
Gave
out.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
Are you
But then
happy? Are you
I'm
happy
happy
with
with
it?
it. Yeah,
Okay.
I just but finding an artist was
That was the hardest part.
so hard.
Yeah.
So hard to like. I gotta trust this person to tattoo me. I mean, and then they have to agree to tattoo you.
Right.
They're interviewing you just like you're interviewing them.
Right.
And some people didn't want to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
People turned you down.
My money wasn't green enough for them.
Oh,
They're
wow.
like, nah, not good enough. I pay cash. No, we don't care. It's
We
all
only
about-
take EBT.
It's all about the project and the art. And they got to feel it and they got to
Oh,
go
wow.
with it. And
Interesting.
So it worked out. Josh Grable did it. Badass. West Loop Tattoo Collective is the name of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's in Greektown.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
We're actually staying. My brother lives on Racine and like right there by 290. That is 290, right? Yeah. Right. But he lives on the UIC campus. So I was going
Okay.
to say we're literally 5 minutes from Greektown. Not even.
Nice.
Yeah.
Your brother, Mike?
Mike. Yep.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
studying at UIC.
I rolled with him a couple months back.
Really?
At, Chicago School of Grappling.
Yeah, that he lives above Chicago School of Grappling.
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
so
yeah.
he'll train. He trains there a lot, obviously,
Yeah.
because he's there and he'll teach there a little
Yeah.
bit.
He's really good.
Yeah, he's good. He's tough. He's a
Yeah.
handful. He's a handful.
Definitely.
It's definitely tough training with him, and it doesn't help that he's my brother, and so it's like, you know, it's always that competitive,
Right.
that competitive setting sort of.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, so my friend Brick, obviously you guys had Brick Welch,
Yeah.
him and I kind of always trained together because Brick was a purple belt. I signed up. I think Brick got his his brown belt. Then my brother signed up. So then we had a couple other friends who are our age. So we were like we were younger and like constantly training. And Brick was kind of like teaching us most of the stuff when we started. And so it's like an interesting dynamic. We still get together and train to this day all the time when we can. And it's just so funny because it's like when you have that much history with, you know, a group of friends, it's like it's an experience to train. It's like it's funny, you know, a lot of shit talking.
Yeah, for sure. And it must be weird for Brick too. Like, you little shit, I taught you everything you know, and then like now you're like beating the fuck out of everyone, you know?
Maybe sometimes on a good day. It's actually really funny because my brother's roommate, his name is Braren, and you guys probably don't know him because he's given up jiu-jitsu for his day job. I can't remember his job title, but he works at TD Ameritrade. Braren Land.
Okay.
He's a black belt under Marcos Bajos in Gracie Baja.
He gave up jiu-jitsu?
He does not train much anymore, if at all.
I have
for
a
his
day job.
I know. Hey, you gotta send him a Facebook message and be like, "Listen, man, come on."
What belt rank is he?
He is a black belt.
Oh, is he? All
And
right.
this is what's funny about it. He was a brown belt when I started training, and he like signed me up.
Okay.
And now he's my brother's roommate. And it's just kind of funny because it's similar to Brick, you know. It's like we've known him for so long. Like he was out in California for a long period of time, and I think like 2012, 2013, teaching at Gracie Baja America. He was like a kids instructor, and he was like signing people up, and he's like a very good at sales. You know, he's just one of those people. He can sell you anything.
Right.
And so he did really well out there teaching the kids, you know, working the sales, and he developed a really strong relationship with all those guys at GB America. And I slept on his couch for like a month before like PANS 2012, because I did I went out there to train because obviously, you know, that's like California has some really tough training and they have some really good guys there and had a super team back then. And so it's just funny that it's all kind of like, you know, still in touch. So I talked some shit to him too. I think I talked some shit to him on Snapchat the other day after I won at Fight to Win. I was like, I want to fight B Money on the Chicago Fight to Win, and he was like, I'll walk out and stab you with a 4-1 t-shirt on. Like Connor had the 49-1 t-shirt, so
right.
he'll have the 4-1 Fight to Win.
Gotcha.
I was like, you crazy, B Money, you crazy. But yeah, anyway.
Day job, huh?
Day job.
Happens.
What are you doing? Are you training twice a day?
Pretty much training, teaching twice a day. Yeah. Only jiu-jitsu, video games, you know, the life,
Jiu-jitsu
traveling.
video game. When are they going to make a jiu-jitsu video game? Goddamn.
Well, you got the UFC game already. I haven't played the UFC game, so I don't know much about it, but it seems like that's the closest thing. I don't think they ever will.
There's not
though.
a market for it. No.
Yeah, no, not at all.
It'd be hard to do, right?
Yeah, that's
it'd be
probably
really
the big.
hard to
It'd be
do.
too complicated.
It's so complex.
You're
Yeah.
like, why wouldn't I just go roll?
Yeah.
Well, you know, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's so true. When you teach, do you feel like you want to like work out with them, or are you just there to teach?
No, so in Iowa, it's like John Gutta, and myself are the two black belts, and we have a bunch of guys who are really, really good, really talented, purples and browns who help us, but we're more or less the only two black belts like running the show. And John has his own school. He's mostly at Tipping Point, and I'm at the university. So most of the time we're there to teach, but the thing about being where we are is you have to be able to teach, and then when it's time to roll, you roll hard. And like it's not often that I'm in a setting, you know, where I don't teach and you know, just get to drill a little bit. I drill on my own. Like if there's stuff I'm working on, I'll do it on my own. My drilling partner, James Kelly, he's a jiu-jitsu legend. Nobody knows who he is, but he's a legend. But I drill with him 3 times a week. We like we get in there, get our work done, focus, get our drilling. And then when I'm teach, make sure the class is good, make sure the guys are learning, they're getting what they need to get. And then when the rounds start, train hard, just like I was in the class. But that's kind of how it works. And I prefer it that way because that's the way it is, and I'm happy with the way it is. But it's a little bit different, obviously, Every once in a while, we don't have as many classes at the university as John has at his school. Mm-hmm. So I'll get up to tipping point and I'll get to be kind of a student in the class, but that's rare. And so a lot of times, when you're a competitor, you have the luxury of just kind of going to class, focusing on yourself. Right. You don't have to teach. Right. But we're not in a situation like that. So we kind of have to,
I mean, recently at Mineco's, he kind of has me teaching class for the beginner's class.
Right.
So, unofficially last week, he kind of said, hey, can you take over this class? I got to do something. Okay, no problem. I took over the class and showed some technique. And then this past week, he's everyone lines up. He brings me to the front. He goes, okay, line up next to him. I'd never lined up next to him before.
Right. And
he's like, okay, I'll be teaching a class. I'm like, oh, shit. So he tells me what he wants me to go over, which is, technique. I'm super focused on technique, so I'm little, so I have to really know my technique.
Right.
So I went over the Carlson Gracie pass, and then to 100 kilos, to scarf, to side control, and then pick a submission. And once you're on side control, so I said, okay, no problem. So doing the class, I want to do my own reps still.
Right,
I'm there to take the class initially.
Sure.
So I'm kind of struggling with I want to get my reps in,
right?
Because I want to train, but yet I have to kind of walk around and make sure everyone's doing the technique properly. So right now I'm kind of how do I just have to take that out? If Andre has me teaching class, I have to say, okay, I shouldn't do reps, or if someone's strangling around, can I just grab someone and do some reps? What would you suggest? Or you just think I should just teach a class and just focus on that?
I mean, honestly, getting the opportunity to teach, especially as a lower belt, a brown or pro belt, it's definitely a great opportunity because the teaching lets you refine your own technique.
Okay.
Because it's very easy to catch yourself doing something wrong or find an easier way to do something that you might not, necessarily have, already built into the transition. And it's easy to not criticize, but pick out problems you have. Because if I was in a room and I, was teaching 10 people and I have a knee cut pass and it's a good solid knee cut pass and I do it. If I show 10 people, I'm showing 10 different body types, 10 different skill levels. I get to literally walk around and watch how those people deal with it and do it. And I get to see what kind of problems they run into. What if their partner is really tall compared to them? What do they do? Because that can happen to you. You might not necessarily have run into that yet, but the position can change and you are sort of forced to have an answer because, that white belt who has a partner who's 2 feet taller than him, he's gonna be like, hey, this is kind of weird. I can't get this grip. I can't do exactly what you're doing because body type doesn't allow it. And you have to improvise there. You don't want to improvise with BS. You want to have a real answer. And so teaching challenges you to problem solve on the fly in that instructor position and be like, okay, I haven't dealt with a partner who's 2 feet taller than me. Let me get in there and kind of work here and see, okay, maybe this grip will work better for you. You know what I mean? And you're sort of forced to do that. But the other side of the coin is that for me as it's not really professional, but professional competitor is I have to drill on my own. Otherwise I'm just not going to get my reps. Cause I said, we, at the university, I'm the guy teaching and I can have, I can ask some of my higher up belts or the guys who I train with who are higher up and capable of teaching to teach, but I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that if I was there. I wouldn't feel comfortable asking, one of the purple belts or brown belts to teach just because I was like, today I want to rep this technique. Cause that's a little too selfish, And so, the other side of the coin is that if you want to keep getting better and improving and you're constantly teaching, you should supplement your drilling and rep and drill. But, it's different for everybody.
Yeah. So the class went well.
Yeah.
Well, I say went well because So here's the weird thing that happened. I don't know what this means, but it doesn't really mean anything. If you look into some things, you might find things. But this is just some
Here we go.
weird incident that happened.
All right.
First class. I get everyone to starting to roll. Okay. So set the timer, 3-minute rounds. First roll, and everyone's going around. I'm watching, just hanging back, just watching the time, making sure everyone's spaced far enough apart. And gets to very close to the end of the first round, and two guys are coming closer to it. I said, "Hey guys, watch your space."
Two groups. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I said, "Hey guys, watch your space." And one guy rolls, and all of a sudden I hear, "Ow, ow, ow, ow!" I'm like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like I didn't hear anything. He's just screaming on the ground.
Right.
He's like, "Ow!" I'm like, "What?"
Someone
the fuck?
got injured in your first class, Cito?
Bro.
God, you're awful.
I'm like, "Oh shit, what happened?" So he goes, "My arm is broken." I'm like, "What in the fuck?
What?
Your arm is broken." He goes, "My arm's broke. My arm's broke. Ow, ow!" And then Andre then comes over. He's like, "What happened?" I'm like, I didn't see anything." And the guy who was he rolling with, he goes, "I don't know. He goes, I did a lapel drag."
Oh my God.
And he posted, and popped his elbow.
Yeah.
He popped his elbow out of the socket.
Out of the socket. Wow. That
So
is
he's
random.
laying there. And we initially think it's broken, but
sure.
it's out of the socket. You just see it just hanging there.
Right.
And I'm just like, "Are you fucking kidding me,
Dude,
Like,
that is
what
the worst.
fuck?
Your first class. Oh my God.
And so they call the paramedics. The paramedics come and they don't take their shoes off. They just
Oh my
walk
God.
on the
I
mat.
have a story about this.
Dude, I'm like, I got a little like my I started sweating for the paramedics. I'm like, is Andre gonna say something to these guys? Like, what the fuck?
Andre fight the paramedics.
Those guys just walked in like they owned the place, and he just stomped on the mat. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be weird.
Yeah.
But he didn't say anything, obviously, and they attended to,
Because I could see him saying
Right.
something.
so they attended to the student that got injured, and yeah, we had to get his things out, and then
What night was this?
Monday night.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and I felt so bad. I'm like, did I do something wrong? I mean, it's just a weird freak accident.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Stop a
from
lapel drag. What are you gonna do?
And he just posted, and it just
Dislocated
popped.
his elbow.
White belt, right?
White belt,
Just
yeah.
awkward white belt.
I have 3 random stories.
Okay.
Not
Let's
random
hear 'em.
stories. They're not long, but there's 2 things.
Hey,
It's random.
that's what we're here for.
Because literally yesterday or 2 days ago, a friend of mine in Minnesota named Heidi, she's a blue belt, got the same injury, and I saw on Instagram, and I was like, "Oh, that really sucks." I noted. I was like, "Ah, that sucks so bad," because this is a freak accident. I'm sure. I don't know what happened to her, but I'd be willing to bet it's something similar. Like literally, just posted on the mat, and something happens with your elbow. That's 1. 2. Another thing is, I don't know what the rule at Andre's is, but with us at the club, and we are super drive this home, is you have to yield for upper belts, and it's not even get close together and touch and then move. It's if you're a lower belt and there's higher belts around you, you need to watch where they are, because if you bump into them, it's too late. You're going to get yelled at, and it's you have to drive that home with them, because I don't know if them bumping into the other group caused that at all, or
They didn't bump.
They didn't
they
bump.
were going
They were
to.
close. Okay,
And I said, back off, and then
something weird happened.
Plus,
Yeah,
it's a beginner's class. It's a lot of white belts. Anyway.
right.
Yeah,
There's
it
no
is.
hierarchy in the
there
beginner's
was. I mean,
class.
they were next to a purple belt that was there.
Okay.
They were just next, and that's why I'm like, hey, watch, and
Watch
then
yourself. Yeah.
as I was saying that, the injury happened.
Something
I'm just
crazy.
like,
But yes, at Minneco's, we do yield to
Yield
higher
to the higher
belts.
belts, yeah.
Absolutely.
But most of the case, it's the higher belt going, watch your space, guys.
That's
And then
exactly
most
how it
of
is.
the
Yeah.
case,
And then the blue belts
Get out of the
move
way.
out of the way.
Yeah. And I was going to say that's a big thing because I mean, it sounds like a freak accident. Imagine if they had bumped into each other and one group rolled into the guy's arm and did that. You know what I mean? Then it's that rule becomes so important. And then my third thing is this: the paramedics coming on the mat. They and my friend Brick, he teaches at the Reds Vic the Loop, and they have a story where a guy was drilling and something similar happened, freak accident, dislocated his shoulder, and it's same thing, that eerie sight of the paramedics stomping on the mat with their boots and bringing the stretcher, and they are all geared up and they have all their stuff, and it's it's so out of place. It's disturbing. You know what I mean? You're like, oh my god, did someone die?
Right.
What just happened?
it's very weird.
And so, Yeah, he probably can sympathize with your situation where you were probably like sweating, like, oh my God.
Andre's like, in 5 years, never someone hurt themselves. I'm like,
Oh
never
my
someone
God.
broke their. I'm thinking to myself, fucking my first class. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
This is what I've been with.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But I taught again the other day, and it was fine.
Yeah,
Everything went
I mean,
smooth.
that's not actually your fault.
No, I know.
That's
But
out
Second
of your
class, someone
control.
broke their wrist, so we're moving down.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Next class
Someone
will be
only breaks a finger,
and
yeah,
then,
only.
and then we're good.
Then you're
We're
good.
clear.
Yeah. No more injuries.
I would have appreciated more if the Kimura, or I'm sorry, the Americana I showed, he did it then.
Right.
Doing the Americana. Then I'd be
Right.
like, oh, well, the technique I showed was fucking awesome.
Very effective.
Yeah.
Very effective. He broke the guy's arm.
10 out of 10 effectiveness.
Bravo. Yeah, so, but
Oh
no,
my
it wasn't
God.
for my technique.
Oh no. Damn.
Brutal.
Yeah, it was.
So did you guys? So what happened? Did you take the gi off and see
no,
like
he's-
the elbow?
No,
So the
they
gi
wouldn't
stayed
let-
on.
Ski stayed on. They
Okay.
walked him out with the gi on, put his
Okay.
shoes on, his jacket coat.
How quick was the response time?
Very quick. It was Chicago, so they were there in like less than 5
And you
minutes.
guys,
Okay.
and obviously over on Chicago and like Ashland,
Yeah.
that's like there's a lot of people over there. It's a very busy time, from like, 4 to 9. I'm sure they had, they had an ambulance
That was a good
getting
response.
over there.
And,
Yeah.
and they said, and I guess that injury, there's no thing you can really do for like, they're not shooting them up with like pain
Mm-hmm.
medication. They're just popping it back in place without numbing it.
God.
Like there's nothing to like, so it's just like
Yeah.
bite down.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's brutal.
How long is this
That-
guy been training for?
Almost a year. I think.
Okay.
He'll probably be back.
And right before class began, he's telling everyone, belt promotion is June 30th. You're getting your blue belt. And he's one of the guys that's getting his blue belt in June 30th. And Andre's like, oh man, I shouldn't have said anything, because people then
Right.
tend to like,
Right.
step it up a little
Bump
bit,
their game
bump
up.
their game
Right.
up, like, oh, I'm getting my, and especially from white to blue, it's it's sort of a big step.
It's a big jump,
It's a
yeah.
big jump. So you're like, oh, maybe they're going a little harder. It's two white belts rolling together. They're both getting their blue belts. So
Battling it out. King of the blue belts.
king of the blue,
King of the white, king of the blue. Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but yeah.
Damn.
But it's fun teaching. I'm I have to go off of like way Andre teaches. So, I like the way he does class. He's to the point. You watch him. Okay, 1, 2, 3, break, and go do the technique 5, 10 times.
Yeah,
depending
no
upon what
side
you
jargon or any
Right.
bullshit.
No,
It's
no.
like-
So I'm just like, I'll show the technique twice, tight, and I'll explain each position. And I just say, listen, you see what I'm doing? Do what I do.
Right.
Like, don't try to improvise.
Right.
Let's do what I do, and then we can tweak it out. And I'll show it to him, and I'll ask him if everyone wants to see it again. If they don't, 1, 2, 3, let's go. And then we just work. And I just want that pace. I like a fast pace personally. So I think that Andre does a pretty fast pace.
Pretty fast
He'll
pace.
bring people back in if he sees more than one person not doing the technique
Right.
correctly. He'll say, okay, step back in, let's go over again.
and he calls out students to do the technique in front of the whole group.
Yeah.
So that kind of keeps everyone on their
Yeah, that's a
their
good
toes,
exercise.
you know what
That's
I
a
mean?
good
It's
tool.
like,
Yeah.
You should do that more.
You're not
Yeah.
just going to zone off into space while he's talking, because he might call on you to be like, "Hey, you do it."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I got to do that. I do got to do that.
It's
Yeah.
it's
That's
really
a great
great because
tool.
you're watching him do it, and you've got to like, shit, he's gonna call me.
Right.
You're like, he calls Paul a lot. He's like,
Yeah.
Paul, get down, show the technique, and then Paul's got to just.
gotta
It's the
keep-
first. Might be the first time he's ever seen that
Got
technique.
to keep everybody fearful.
But it's good. It's a
scared.
great training. I mean,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that
Yeah.
a lot. I don't think I'm doing the beginner's
Yeah.
class, but I appreciate that for the advanced
Mm-hmm.
class for sure.
How do you do your classes, Matt?
I usually do like a.
Walk us through a class.
Okay,
at
I'll walk you through a
tipping
class.
point.
Not tip. Well,
Maybe we should have Brian
typical
on.
point sometimes. Usually the university.
How do you see him teaching?
So
I
usually
like
I'll-
John more.
Yeah. Jeez.
Everyone likes John more.
Apparently.
We couldn't get John for this episode, so
Yeah, I'm
Matt
the
stepped in.
backup. I'm the backup. So I'll do about, depending on where we are, if it's the beginning of the semester, we got a lot of new people at the university. Like at the beginning of the fall and spring semesters, we'll get 10, 15, brand new people, never done any jiu-jitsu, a lot of them, any sports. And so I'll do a little bit more time on like pretty much everything. Like the warm will be longer because I have to explain everything, explain how to shrimp, explain how to break
Right.
fall. But normally I'll do 10.
You call it shrimps?
Shrimps, yeah.
See,
Shrimps or hip
snakes.
escapes. I'll
You
switch it up.
Never use snakes?
I have not heard snakes, but I know
That's interesting, right?
It makes sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll do.
I don't know. I just
I don't
because
know.
I think shrimp as well.
I
Right.
think shrimp too.
Andre knows
Mineko calls them
snakes.
snakes. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He was coaching you at Fight to Win.
He was
Did you
coaching.
understand anything?
No, I heard him. I heard him.
Okay,
Yeah, I heard him. Yeah, he helped me. He led me to victory there,
Yeah,
fighting
yeah,
down
right.
there in Houston. But anyway, I'll do like 10, maybe 15 minutes warm up. Like maybe add another drill, like have the guys pull guard or close guard armbar, something really simple that they can warm up with that almost everybody knows how to do, but like anybody can do more reps. Like anybody can get better from doing more like close guard reps. And I do the guard pull because like we have a lot of people who like to do tournaments and compete. And so I think one of the biggest things is like either getting really good at a takedown, which is kind of hard to do because you don't really want white belts practice, sparring with takedowns. It's kind of a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Or have them drill pulling guards so they're comfortable starting a match. Anyway, after that, we'll jump into technique. There's like 30 minutes of technique, maybe 35. And I try to get a lot of rolling because I'm just a firm believer in just a lot of rolling. Like 45 minutes. I will rarely do less than that. I know sometimes people like to focus more on technique on certain days and then just do a little less rolling. But I think the rolling is the most important part.
Yeah.
Because the technique is very good, but the rolling lets you, apply it and really practice it, and you get to hone in, and the more rolling, the better.
You can explore a lot.
Yeah, you can explore a lot, and we have pretty big classes at Tipping Point and at the university, and with varying skill levels, and not everybody is going to necessarily want to practice whatever we show. You have to respect that as an instructor. You might show a De La Riva sweep, but a lot of your students don't like playing De La Riva, and it's not that they're closed-minded to it. They're just not there yet.
Right.
And so if you focus on an hour of technique and 20 minutes of sparring, it's they are going to drill the technique, and it's very good, and it's good for them to expand their game, but are they really expanding their game? But if you give them more time to roll, they can expand whatever they want, and that's a little bit more, I think, of a healthy trial and error. Drilling isn't time for trial and error. Rolling is time for trial and error.
Right.
So I try to do more of it.
Yeah.
And like I said, it goes back to that. We don't have in Iowa. John and I both. We're almost always teaching when we're doing a class. And so if I make less rolling, I'm just gonna get less rolling myself. It's almost a little bit selfish, but I need a lot of rolling. I need a lot of rounds, and so I run more rounds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so is this like a college course at the university? Can students get credit for it?
No, this is just a club. There is a course offered, and initially when I came to Iowa, that was the plan. John was teaching it, and when I moved, the plan was for me to take it over. And immediately we were kind of aware of this, but we were going to see maybe if there was a workaround, but there wasn't really. It would be impossible for me to travel and compete as much as I do if I signed up and did the course, because you're working with the university. You can't be like, oh hey, I'm just going to disappear. I'm going to go to London for a week. I got to go to London, and because they're not going to. You can't reason with them. They're just going to be like, all right, well, we're going to find someone else because this is a college course and we have these students who paid. Right. So there's a purple belt down there named Tony Curry, very very good. He teaches that college course because he competes quite a bit less than I do, and so he's able to commit to that course and stay in town. I think he does a class over spring break where he's teaching 2 or 3 hours a day, all 5 days of the week. Normally he's teaching twice a week for an hour and a half, and they condense it so that the students can take the whole course in 1 week over spring break. Wow. And that would be an example. It's I think this spring break I was in London for half the week. I would have had to pick one, so.
It's so badass. You could earn a college credit doing
jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Very badass. And we get a lot of the students, they get a taste of jiu-jitsu through that college course, and then they come to the club because obviously, Tony trains at the club. He's going to refer them. And so, he's going to be like, oh, this course, it'll end after 8 weeks, but if you really want to train, we have a club here.
He's in charge of your farm team.
Kinda, yeah, pretty much. Nice. He's the feeder. He's the feeder program. And then the university's the feeder program to Tipping Point. Right. It all comes full circle.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And so I'm sure because it's a college town that people come in there, and then after they're seniors and they graduate, they leave.
Yes.
And you see them like kind of spreading out throughout the United States, going back to their hometowns and continuing their jiu-jitsu journey, right?
You'd hope so. So I haven't seen that much because I've only been here in Iowa for almost 2 years, but John's seen that a ton.
Right.
He's been there for the whole time. He's been training 10 years.
Yeah.
So he's seen so many people come and go. He's seen so many people, come, spark their interest in jiu-jitsu, train for a few years, go somewhere else, keep
they get
training.
belted, right? They get
they get
belted,
belted.
sure.
It's the university functions just like a normal academy. We do promotions.
Okay.
We don't have a everyday schedule, definitely not twice a day, but we have an almost everyday schedule. John's a black belt, obviously, and he started at the university, so cradle to grave, the university. There's a couple of brown belts, a bunch of purple belts. It's the big. I can confidently say it's the biggest jiu-jitsu club in the U.S. Based on my interactions with others, because we've actually gotten a slew of random messages. I don't get them. The admins of like our Facebook page where students get them. But they get these messages all the time from these other clubs that want to do like club versus club tournaments.
Yes.
And this is actually an interesting topic. It's kind of like undiscussed because it's only among clubs, but it's like, it's so interesting because they'll ask me, they'll be like, oh, these people message me. I'm like, oh, okay, we'll talk to them, see what they want, what they want to say. And they'll be like, oh, we want to get like a scrimmage going. And it's like, and then you like see, they'll give you their numbers and they'll be like, we have 15 people in our club, and a blue belt teaches. It's like, we have, 85 people and, a black belt, you know what I mean? It's like it's not like, if you guys want to compete, just go to the tournament. You know what I mean? And it's like a lot of these, it's weird because a lot of these clubs like aren't past that. They like want to do everything like club versus club, but they don't understand.
Like a rugby team.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But like
team.
Well, they need to understand that you as a club, you can build up to the level of any academy and you can go to the Chicago Open and bring home serious hard work.
You think that they think they're not as good?
Yes, they're setting their sights too low. Exactly. And so, and I don't know what that stems from, I don't know.
Probably just not enough exposure to the community.
Sure.
Like you're just around this club atmosphere.
Sure.
I can see that.
That's it. But that's probably it. But yeah, they need to understand they can't. For example, we, what did we do? Last year at Pans, we sent, 4 or 5 people, and 3 of us came home with medals, and that's Pans. That's one of the biggest tournaments in the world in the gi. And we're not white belts. I was a brown belt. Tony was a blue belt. Maria was a white belt. And granted, it's not black belt Pans medalist, but still most academies have never had anybody bring home a majors medal, and we have, if you put all our combined majors medals on a table, we have 10 or 15, and it's not just me. A lot of people would probably be like, oh, it's just you, but it's like we have guys who have serious medals and have done really well at big tournaments and have big wins, and so if you set your sights on that, you can do it. But I think some of these clubs are kind of like, send their sights too low. They want to do these little club scrimmages, and it's like, well, it's not really beneficial. There's already all these tournament circuits. All you got, this idea is just setting up another tournament circuit that's, shitty and gonna not produce good competition,
Right.
So it's just interesting. But yeah, going back to what I said, I'm based on those interactions, I'm really confident our club, the club in Iowa is the biggest in the nation, I'm sure.
That's awesome, man. Good for you guys.
Maybe in a place like New York, they might have more, maybe, but I would be really surprised if that was the case.
And I would say that would only be the case because it's like
so many
tuition
people
is so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you go in New York? Everything's $200-$300 for mat fees.
Yeah.
It's almost like, hey,
just train at a club.
Let's train at a club somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, we pay $100 for a semester. At the club.
And these guys, they're spoiled. They're spoiled. And it's crazy too, because, every once in a while, most of those guys at the club, guys and girls at the club, they realize that pretty early on. They'll figure it out. Like, excuse me, relatively early, that $100 for 3 or 4 months of training is pretty cheap. Yeah. Especially when because again, it's all about the level. If you're going to pay $100 a semester to learn from a blue belt who doesn't know what they're doing, then it's like, that's kind of worth it. You wouldn't want to pay more for that. But it's like, like I said, we have a lot of higher belts. We have a ton of people on the mat. You know, we have a lot of really talented people. And so it's a steal. And then, you know, but believe it or not, I have had people come and they're like, this is too expensive. How is this so expensive? I'm like, yo, you have no idea. Go call Marcelo Garcia Academy in New York and get a quote on their tuition.
Right.
Like, please, for me.
Exactly.
It's interesting.
Exactly. I mean, it's how do you put a price on it? You're showing up to a facility with people who want to grapple you. I mean,
High level.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's that. I mean, that's you got to get deep in the game though to get to that where you're like,
to
oh, I
actually
just want to,
appreciate
I just
that.
want to train with people. Yeah, because most people are. I mean, you believe it or not, and I don't deal with it so much. We have a guy named Jace who's also he's a superstar in terms of sales and kids program. He works for John at Tipping Point. He's a purple belt, very talented. But he deals with a lot of the administrative stuff up there, and he'll tell me all the time. You know, one of the, and I've kind of known this because I've heard from other people who deal with the administrative side, is all the time you get people who call and they're like, oh, yeah, I want to do jiu-jitsu. And you're like, okay, yeah, I can come in for an intro. Well, what's the price? Well, what's the price per month? And you tell them, and of course, to them, it's too expensive because they don't train. They don't know what it's worth.
Right.
You know, and that's like the biggest problem. I think any academy owner in Chicago and anywhere in the world will tell you that is probably a pet peeve of theirs. When people call, ask for a price, and hang up because they think it's too expensive.
right.
It is. It's. I mean, that's across the board.
That's when you
Price.
just say the first week is free. Come in, and we'll talk pricing after that.
Exactly, but a lot of people, you know, and that's the proper thing to do, and that's like the protocol. But man, I've heard stories of people who are like, "No, just give me the price.
give me
I
the
don't want
price
to
right now.
Just give me the price right now."
And they probably don't really want to train.
No, and that's
they
the
want
truth.
Excuses and
That's
not
the
train.
truth. Yeah, that's the
You know?
truth.
It's their own internal struggle with getting healthy and getting involved in something that they're defeating
Right.
themselves before they walk in the door.
Well, it's not only that, but now they have an excuse to justify it in their mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna go do jiu-jitsu until I found out it was $150, and it was like, no way. So I tried.
I tried. Did my best.
I made the effort. I
dialed the
picked up the
number.
phone.
Yeah.
I did it all.
That was a 10-digit number I had to dial.
I did everything.
It was outside my area code.
I did everything I could have done.
Right.
Didn't pan out.
Didn't work out.
Didn't work out. Didn't work out. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I tried to change my life. The universe was just not having it.
No, he wanted me to stay the same. It's pretty good.
But those who do show up,
Yeah.
man, is it a life changer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you
Total.
dislocate your elbow.
Yeah. That
See,
is
though, I
a
can't believe you
negative
let
life
that happen,
changer.
dude. That's so awful, bro.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry.
Damn.
Yeah. Did you? Kenny Jewell hit me up, and he's like, "Hey, check out my." He's an IBJJF photographer.
Yeah.
You know Kenny.
I don't know him personally, but I've seen his watermark on thousands of
Grapple
pictures.
TV.
Yeah,
He
Grapple
runs
TV.
the podcast also. So he hit me up, and he's got a tournament, 2-gi or not 2-gi.
Okay.
I play off that name. Really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
This is the rule set. 13 points. Oh, first of all, flip a coin to know if you're fighting in the gi or not in the gi.
Okay.
Second, rule set. 13 up to 13 points, slaughter rule.
Okay.
You
First
went
to
on that.
13.
First to
First to
13.
13. Interesting.
And then
Or submission.
Submission
Okay.
only, no time limit.
Okay. Wow.
How do you like that, Matt?
I think that's a pretty good rule
pretty
set.
cool, right?
I like
Pretty
that.
cool.
I like the slaughter rule because then it prevents the playing possum in the sub only
Right,
style.
right. Yes.
That's become so popular.
I love that.
That's pretty good.
idea.
Is that Justin Cali then he does it, or is this an idea that hasn't?
It's in Cali. You know
He
what?
said he's done 2 of them so far.
Right. And he wanted to hit up one of the guys we were talking about on the podcast, see if he wanted to be in the
in
next
it?
one.
Okay.
So I'm super game to see that go off.
Yeah,
I think that'd be
Because
I like that.
cool. You get the
Man.
points guys, and you could get the sub only guys.
Yeah,
Right.
And you almost get to see It's not always going to be this way, but when you get the pure points guys against the pure sub only guy, you get to see you give the points guy a way to win against the possum no-gi sub only guy, because that does happen not often and not all the time, but you will see a points guy just go to town on a sub only guy, but he has no way to win the match. And of course you can say well, he doesn't deserve to win the sub only match if he can't sub him. But man, if you're really high level and you're playing possum, it's hard to sub you. You
Yeah,
know,
it
so
is.
adding that slaughter rule
Right.
gives the points guy. He's like, well, I don't need to sub you if you're going to play possum. I'll just
Point you
score
up.
30. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
just
exactly.
score 13 points.
Right.
And
You will address my knee on belly.
You're right,
You will.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
And it gives the sub only guy this like penalty for playing possum, you
Right.
know. And I'm not saying sub only guys are the only guys playing possum, or points guys are the kicking their asses, and
Right.
sometimes it's the other way around, and a lot of times it's the other way around. But you do see it, and it would take care of that problem.
Yeah, it forces you to be a better, well-rounded grappler too. I mean, you don't know if you're in the gi or not that night.
That's
You
true.
know, you got to be doing both.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
That's like game show style,
Right?
Oh, man, I'd watch that.
Yeah. I
like
know.
if you took some of the top guys and did it, flip the coin, gi or no
the
gi,
coin.
because that would change so much, you know.
For sure, and it makes a whole thing of the tournament too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the spectators are like, all right, let's see the coin flip. Let's see what we got
What's
here.
he
You know
gonna
what
do?
I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it makes that interesting too. Like you're there for the decision process.
Right.
And I mean, I understand it's no time limit. I can appreciate that, but
It's not gonna go.
going to go because
No.
you got 13 points. So
No.
first
And
to
13 is not that much.
No.
It's really not.
No,
So yeah, I like that idea. I like it a lot.
I know.
I'm interested to see how far that goes.
Because we do the EBI fight campaign and stuff like that, and we see now, what are they on? Going on 16? EBI 16s next or something like that, right?
Something.
And
I think
now
they're-
people are like, I'm going to hold out till
Yeah.
overtime.
Well, it's becoming more strategic. You know.
Now
Just
that
like
strategy
anything.
is like, the strategy was initially like, we don't want to go overtime because we want the money.
Right.
Now nobody really cares about the
Well,
money.
people
it
just
seems.
want the purse at the end, the 20 at the end instead
No,
of
you don't get the
you don't
20
get
at the end.
Really?
You have to win all your fights in regulation by submission to get paid.
Right.
Oh,
so it's
wow.
So it's a total of 20,000 you could win,
Mm-hmm.
5,000
each fight.
per submission.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's becoming more valuable now to get the belt than it is to get the
20K,
money along
yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
So now they're just like, I want the status of being the EBI
Interesting.
champ because now they're going to promote me.
Yeah.
They'll
make their 20 back at some point
Right.
with an
Seminar
EBI
circuits
title.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Because once you got that title, they're on all the posters, and now they can sell their seminars and do all that stuff.
Talk shit on Instagram.
Talk shit on Instagram,
Yeah.
do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And and so their game plan now is like, I'm just gonna drag this to overtime and
you
then
go.
choke you out or win by whatever the overtime rules are.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Very
So we're
interesting.
seeing that. So I like this. This sub only 13, no time limit. You gotta be in it.
Yeah.
Like you got.
It's
We're gonna know
definitely
who
cool.
the best
It's a cool
person
concept.
is.
Matt,
Mm-hmm.
have you done no time limit at all?
No time limit. No, I don't think I've done any no time limit tournaments. Actually, no, I did a US grappling. You guys remember that? They would come up. They still do stuff, but they're more on in Virginia and that area. But they would come to Chicago over the course of the past couple of years. They kind of stopped coming up here. But they were doing, honestly, one of their last tournaments was a true no time limit sub only. And I don't know if there's one legendary match between Antoine Evans and Lawrence Dunning that this match, and you got to give it to those guys because those guys are like, I don't know if they're rival, like I don't know if there's a rivalry. I don't know how much they fought, but they were very evenly matched to say the least.
Right.
Literally tit for tat. And I'm telling you what, they had a match that was an hour, and I think Lawrence had to go to work, and he had to just call it. I'm dead serious. And there was so sweaty. It was the sweatiest match I've ever seen. I give it up to those guys. Sweatiest match because they're not. They're not adults. They're in the Masters divisions, and they just kept going. And it was just like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and it was just a sweat fest. They had to bring towels on the mat to wipe it around them. But anyway, my point is,
Was it no-gi or
it was no-gi. It was no-gi. But that's the downfall of that.
Yeah.
No-gi, no time limit, true. So I don't know if I like it so much for that
in
reason.
your experience, slaughter roll 1st to 13 in the gi. What do you think would be the longest possible match in that scenario? Like, do you think there could be a 45-minute match
And not in a sub. Oh, okay. In the gi?
in the gi 1st to 13 sub only?
Yeah, I think you could have. You would have the same problem you have no-gi sub only, no time limit, because you're going to get guys who are just so evenly matched. And what happens is, it's like, who is going to break first? Who's going to make a mistake first? Because you got to understand what I'm learning more and more as I compete more at black belt is it's not about the 13 points. It's about the means. It's like winning the small battles.
Right.
So, for example, you get the double guard pull. The double guard pull would happen at like featherweight. And then the guy who comes up, the guy who comes up better think long and hard, because you know what? If he gets his back taken, that's going to be 6 points right there. Or he might get swept and then past 5, and so it's not the 13 points that he has to worry about. It's any amount of points, because once the first guy scores the first few points, he's not going to make any mistakes, because the top guys don't make mistakes. Right. The guy who's behind is going to be forced to risk it. And when he risks it, he either is going to, successfully escape, probably 1 in 3 chance, because he's in a bad position against a guy who's just as good as him, or he's going to slip up and more points are going to go and more points. Then it's just going to be a downward spiral. So I don't know that in the gi at the highest level, that rule set would be better. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it would solve that boring problem that we have. I think it would.
What if like you deduct? What if you can go negative? So let's say if they're stalling, and then they would get negative points. So you could actually start at a -1, and the other guy can, and then you can deduct points from that. So kind of keeps the match like, listen, you guys can, and the match can go longer, because now they have to deduct points. Now they have to catch up to themselves, or the guy stalling out like he just doesn't want to pass, or there's got to be some penalties.
Mm-hmm.
Like
the
yellow cards back in the day,
like bags rules. Like you have to land exactly on 21.
Right.
You can't go over.
What's that? Bags rules.
Never played bags? Like cornhole?
Yeah, but what's the land on 21?
You have to land exactly on 20. Like you can't land over. You know what I mean?
I've never played bags where you had points on
If
the
you have
thing.
20, you can't get it in the hole, because the hole's worth 3. You have to land it on the board.
On the board.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a joke, Cito.
Sorry,
I'm
man.
making a joke.
It went right over my head, man. I don't know. It's drinking games. I don't know what the hell.
It's Bago. You don't have to drink.
I'm sure you drew.
I totally do. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
It's how I get my center of balance. I have the bag in one hand and a beer in the other.
Yeah.
Or else I'll be totally...
Yeah, you're fine.
I'll be wobbling.
Out of sync. I don't know if that would necessarily solve the rule. I think creating some sort of stalling call, a better stalling call system would do it. That's what they seem to do in wrestling, and that seems to take care of the passivity there. They actually have passivities, whereas we don't in jiu-jitsu. You get called for stalling if you're too passive, but it's like, it's too lenient. Also, a lot of the bigger matches you have 3 referees, but I honestly think that if you created more stalling penalties or passivities, you would need to bring in 3 refs for every match, because then it becomes a little bit too subjective. And we're still at a point where a lot of these referees, they're affiliated with teams. And I'm literally the last person to complain about that stuff. I literally don't care. If I lose a ref's decision or I lose on something that is actually bogus, I literally don't even care. I put it upon myself. It was my responsibility to not let that happen. But these referees are affiliated with teams, and that would have to stop. You would need a union of referees that are not affiliated, and that's pretty hard to get, because the only people who are knowledgeable enough to ref are deep in the jiu-jitsu game, and you're not going to be deep in the somewhere. Yeah, you're not going to be deep in the jiu-jitsu game.
Exactly.
So they would need, I don't know, you'd need to get I think you should get like a union of referees that are a little bit more objective, honestly. That would be a big thing, because now, I mean, at the top level, a lot of times you do see, the winner decided by the super subjective call of a particular ref, right. And it shouldn't. We should try to take that out of the sport at the professional level. Yeah. And honestly, the UAE does a good job with it. The UAE, they're a little bit more, I think they have a stricter process for selecting refs. I could be completely wrong, but based on what I understand, they don't employ competitors to ref, whereas the IBJJF does. When we see the Chicago Open tomorrow, right. you're gonna see a lot of guys. It might not be adult competitors. Some of them will be, but a lot of them they'll be mastered. They might not necessarily know. They might not necessarily even be competing that day, but they do compete, and they compete for a team. And like I said, I'm the last person to complain about it, but there is something to it. You need objective refereeing, completely objective, or as close to it as you can get.
I mean, do you think there should be like outside judge decision as opposed to just get it out of the referee's hands altogether?
So what the UAE does is I think a lot of people who don't compete in their tournaments don't realize this, but in the IBJJF, especially when there's one ref, let's say a white belt match, you have the match. If it's, completely tied, the ref is just going to pick somebody. No one's going to question him. It's one person, and you don't know if he has motivations to give one guy the win over the other. You never know because he's trusted with that responsibility. But in the UAE, what happens is the ref who's reffing the match doesn't decide that. He looks to a scorer's table, and there's a line of refs who are not reffing matches. Their job is to, I believe it's to prevent mistakes, but it's also to make these decisions. Okay. They're going to give him the call. And I've noticed this as I've done a lot of their tournaments. The ref who's reffing your match is not involved in the ref's decision. He looks to that table, and that table decides who wins. Okay. And that table, I think, they're a little bit further away, and I think there's multiple of them. So they have a little bit easier of a time deciding objectively. Okay. Again, I could be wrong, and it could be the same thing in reality, but I think leaving it to one person, it's too on them. And, at some places it won't matter. Like, I can promise you that, tomorrow they're, you won't ever know if the refs have a vested interest in who wins the match, but that's the problem. You never will know, and right. So you got to take that out of the equation. Yeah. You got to get like a union of refs that don't compete, I think.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, it's going to be hard, but... Or train robots. We have the technology.
That's what I'm talking about,
Skynet.
Paul.
Completely objective robots.
Paul puts me down for every time I talk about technology and introducing it. He's just like, nah, you're crazy.
It's just so far-fetched. It's just like way really out there.
I don't see why not, man. I mean, do you see what they're doing with technology
Zito,
nowadays?
Okay. First of all, let me explain to Matt. Zito wanted to come up with some sort of gi that, like, has sensors all over it. Okay. That could, sense where pressure points were being applied to it, and that's how the decision of the fight.
Oh, interesting.
No, it's not interesting, Matt. You can say it's stupid.
No. It's deeper than that. Well, basically, you know how they make
deeper.
Like fencing.
Okay.
How
it has a sensor, so the thing hits and it senses it.
The sensor will only be for if you have a locked-in submission, right? And how some people like to act those submissions.
Right. You grab a foot lock, you act like it's on, really but it's not really. Yeah.
And they're not really squeezing because they just want the advantage of saying they have a locked-in submission. Well, these sensors would allow the computer to know. It doesn't matter where they'd be.
No, I need you to explain this to me.
I don't know. I don't have all the answers.
Paul puts me down all the time.
I don't have all the answers, but this is just the idea, okay? Right. We're spitballing here, okay?
Okay.
So
please, I love when you spitball. It's very entertaining.
Thank you. So these sensors would be wherever they're going to be, right?
Right.
And then the computer would be able to generate whether that was a legit try to submit the guy or whether it was just an act.
Right. Sure.
And by generating, when you make a video game, you have those guys in the green screen and they have all
they're doing the motion capture.
They're doing the motion capture, right? Exactly. So if you could emulate the same thing, motion capture with the computer, where you'd show the computer all these types of submissions, all these positions, and that computer would be actually learn jiu-jitsu, learn it, then you can actually have the computer score the match.
Interesting.
And decide the victory.
Like I said, you're 200 years ahead of your time.
I don't think so. I see where technology is doing.
People's
It's
pain
incredible.
tolerance.
I don't disagree with that.
So,
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying it allows you to not be bullshit because you think there's a computer there. Just like put up a fake camera in a room.
I don't think
there's
a massive problem in jiu-jitsu right now.
Well,
I think
MMA.
I think MMA is a problem as far as judging. But.
I just think that it'd be nice to take the referees out of that position where you just have computer score. Listen, the IBJJF can't even get the names right.
Yeah.
The names are wrong on the screen. They can't even get that right.
That's flow.
No. I'm talking about IBJJF. Like at Maneko's match, they had it all wrong. Like they had the reverse. They were scoring for the other guy when he was at Pans. No, at Pans. Oh, is it Flo doing that?
Flo usually does that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Flo is all fucked up. They're all sorts of fucked up. Like I don't know what's going on.
They're still getting it together. Well, they have to do all that stuff on the fly because this is what it is. Because Flo doesn't.
Matt, I don't know if everyone else experienced this, but your match was going out.
Yeah,
like,
that-
a
people
lot,
told me.
And I
People
was
told me that.
yelling at my computer. I was like, "Motherfucker!" Kept
it's
refreshing.
frustrating. I don't
But only
understand.
your match.
Really?
Yeah, because
No,
I was
it
watching.
happened at some
I
of the
watched.
matches,
It
too.
did it. Yeah, I was watching the majority of the card. I was basically tuned in to see you and Minetko.
Right.
But yeah, like half your match was blacked out. and
People
I was
told me
pissed.
that. I want to go back and watch the replay and see if it's messed up on the replay. I hope not, because
I don't know. Flows, you know, I got mixed feelings with them. I mean, I love what they're doing, but
Yeah.
then I just think they need to do more.
sure.
They need to get tighter and better.
Well, they're still in their infancy, you know. So I think in time they'll get better.
I mean, dot your I's, cross your T's.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they get sloppy on things. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
They, should,
Like
they need
little-
to take you on as a consultant.
Yeah.
see how
Dude,
it's-
they don't want me because I
You'd be
I
too.
go
Pick their whole operation apart.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to
You'd
be.
criticize them too hard.
It's just because, you know, I know what it takes to run a business. You know, I've
Right.
been doing it for 16 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, you know, I don't fuck around. You know,
Right.
business is business. And, you know, my clients who rely on me to know my shit
Mm-hmm.
and to not make mistakes and I'm a customer of theirs. I pay month for flow.
Right.
I don't want to see mistakes like that. That's
Right.
silly mistakes that should not be
So do I.
done.
Sure,
You know, that's still, okay, everyone bandwidth issues. Okay, you know, I'll give them a break here. When they get loaded up, that they can work that out.
Right.
But simple like name and who gets the points, come on, man. That's
Yeah.
just silly.
Yep.
It's true.
So it's
Maybe
silly
a little
stuff
bit
that
of
shouldn't.
competition will.
That's
Yeah.
the thing.
You know what I mean? I mean, they have like a monopoly going right now. Not a monopoly, but like they're the only ones doing it. You know
They
what I
are.
mean?
They
So
are.
there's a little bit more of an incentive to, you know, put out a better product when someone's
Someone's on your
nipping at
heels. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
You know, Zito. Want to nip
Zito
at some
grappling.
heels?
Zito grappling.
No, I don't want to get in that space. No, no, thank you.
Oh my God, this is worse than Flow.
It's just filmed
I
with
didn't
a
think that was
phone.
possible.
It's just filmed with a phone. The events are filmed with a phone.
Shaking.
Shaky. That's
Oh,
great.
man, yeah, but no, I mean they got to tighten it up because or someone's gonna come along and take over. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. I mean, it's eventually. I mean, the UFC TV they still have problems. you
Really?
know? Oh yeah, Fight Pass.
I didn't
Big
know.
problems, man. I mean, there's sometimes you can't even get it. It's lags. It freezes up.
I think it's just technology in general.
It's just you know that's the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, and I like what they're doing. It just man, just the little mistakes that shouldn't be made.
Right.
That's all. You know, the big things you're gonna work those out, but those little ones, you guys got to be on that little one. It's just weird that some things aren't available for fucking days. And
Yeah, for sure.
hire more people.
Hire more people, yeah.
What are you gonna do? I mean,
Yeah, I
people
mean, I
want
think they're
content.
growing a lot.
A week after the event, and you still can't get it. I'm just like, fuck. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
Like some fight to wins aren't posted right away.
Right.
It takes a long time for them to get that material out there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gotta have someone on that.
You should have someone on that. I mean,
Yeah.
and you can't see the. Here's the thing. This is what really annoys me. No replays on Fight to Win.
Really?
No replays.
Yeah, dude.
It's fucking
Oh,
annoying.
I
All
see.
they do
Wait
is
for the
show
replay.
up a fucking ad for whatever the fuck it is.
Muscle Farm.
Whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. How
It's
about the replay
show
brought
me
to
the
you by
fucking
Muscle Farm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show me the
Sometimes
show
you
me
miss the submission.
Sometimes I do.
And you hear the
do miss it.
commentate. You're in the other room, and you hear the oh my God, what an armbar! And you run in, and you're like,
Even
oh,
if you're
damn
watching it, sometimes you just want to see that other camera angle.
Yeah, yeah. Or
It's
you
like-
want to see it again.
Yeah, I want to see. Oh fuck! How do? And now I got to wait a week.
Yeah. A week.
I totally
I'm
forgot
not even
about
thinking
it.
about it.
Yeah.
anymore.
I forgot
You know,
about it.
I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like,
You don't
fuck, I
care.
missed it. I
Yeah,
don't care
you don't
anymore.
care.
It's on to the next thing.
Show me the replay live, right? Show me. I don't want to see a huge logo on my TV all of a sudden.
Put the logo
that
at the
logo.
top. This replay is brought to you by Muscle Farm.
That's it.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with it.
Gameness. Put it on the bottom. Leave it
Right.
as a watermark on the bottom of the screen forever. I
Yeah.
don't care. You don't have to show me my screen go black
The whole
and huge
screen go
fucking
black.
logo.
Did my computer fall asleep? Is this my new screensaver?
Gameness.
Gameness?
I know. Show me the replay and then talk about the replay. It's not. It's simple stuff.
Yeah.
Like that should
Watch
be like
the UFC.
easy. Do what
and
they do.
Do what they do.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
It's that simple.
Makes sense.
I'm sorry to get on that, but it's just been bothering me, and I want to put that out there.
Yeah.
all over.
I'm sure it's like super hard, and like they'll listen to this and be
Yeah.
like, those two idiots don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
That costs so much money to do.
Hey,
We're doing the best we can
Right.
over here.
raise. I don't care if they raise the subscription per year. It does. I just want a quality product. I'll
Right.
pay. I pay for Fight Pass. I'll
Yeah.
pay for whatever. I pay for Flow Grappling. I will pay if it's worth it. Give me the replays.
Right.
It's gonna cost me extra $10 a month. I don't care. Give me I'll pay the extra $10 a month.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
What about Adult Worlds? Do they have replays on that?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think they do. Do they?
For the finals.
Yeah,
might.
because
They
they
do.
bring
Yes,
in
they
like
do. You're right.
They bring in like for real cameras
Yeah.
for that, and
That's on the string
on
going
the string going
across.
across.
Yeah, that's
so
great.
there's replays on that.
Yeah.
So like they can do it. You know,
For
you bring
sure.
in Kenny Florian, he's commentating. You got the replays.
yeah.
You got so it can be done.
Yeah.
Kenny Florian does Robot Wars.
What?
Yeah, I do know.
Oh
that.
my god, you know this?
That
I
TV
didn't.
show?
I'm up late one night and I'm like going through channels and all of a sudden Robot Wars comes. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like I remember hearing about this a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then I see Kenny Florian. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's like big into bots.
Bots.
It's called bots.
Yeah, that's it.
Kenny,
Bot Wars.
Kenny
Bot Wars.
Florian.
Kenny Florian, and he does commentary like he's commentating a fucking jiu-jitsu match, but these are guys controlling robots trying to like
Interesting.
destroy each other.
Right.
Wow.
It's fucking
That's
fascinating.
random. So he does the commentary
He
on
does the
it.
commentary.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
Right.
I'm like, this is for real. I was laughing a little bit inside. I felt like
What's the show called?
I think it's called Bot Wars or
Bot,
something.
okay.
I don't know. It might not be Bot
Yeah.
Wars, but it was funny seeing him like, wow, Kenny
Yeah.
Florian. I mean, he does a really great job.
Yeah.
It's like he sounds great, and he's a good commentator. I guess it just translates to anything. He could be commentating.
Yeah. Well, they might have some
underwater
sort
basket
of
weaving next.
Yeah, they might have some sort of affiliation with Fox, and then maybe he like got the job through that. They like
Right.
saw him commentate
No,
the
he's
fights.
into it.
Oh,
Like,
okay,
yeah,
Okay,
they-
so
does
he's
it
deep
as
in
a
the
passion
game.
project.
he's
Oh,
yeah,
wow,
that's like
okay.
his thing.
he builds robots.
Yes. He's been doing it for a while. Like
Wait, he
it's
actually
it's his like
builds them?
side hobby. Like
Okay,
besides martial
interesting.
arts, he's into building bots. Like that's why he has the commentary job.
Oh wow, because he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's looking at.
Matt,
Nice.
if you were to commentate on something else besides jiu-jitsu, what would it be?
Oh man, that's
Like, what is your bot wars?
I don't even know. Commentate on something.
Are you a gamer?
Yeah, I play.
So you
I
could
play some
commentate
games.
on some video
I
games?
could probably commentate on some video games,
Okay.
but only specific games. And
Right.
I'm not super consistent. Like a good game will come out and I'll play it a lot, and then like I'll be done with it, and then like won't get another game and like stop playing games. Like me and my brother both played Halo a lot as young kids, so
Okay.
I'll always come back and play like the Master Chief Collection online. But I'll play for like a few weeks and be like, oh, so fun. And then it'll like get old,
Right.
and then nostalgia will go away, and I'll be like, I don't want to play anymore.
I should be doing something more productive.
Yeah.
I know it's hard though. I mean, winter in the Midwest. What are you gonna do?
I was gonna say
You know?
that's when I play the most is the winter because you don't go outside. But then when it gets nice again, I'm like, I'm gonna go get a coffee, sit outside, people watch,
Right.
go for a walk. There's just more stuff. Yeah. So, but I'd say video games honestly. Other than training, I think I could commentate fights, but a lot of like MMA. But a lot of people can commentate that. But I think I'd have a good time commentating it. And if I did, I would. A lot of people obviously are a little better at commentating striking. I would think I could articulate what was happening in the grappling setting, better than a lot.
Paul and I are going to be commentating the Wonderless event.
Okay, nice, very
Yeah.
nice. Very
It's
nice.
Our first.
30th.
Yeah, it's our first commentate. Like we
Yeah, we'll see how we do.
see how we do.
I think you guys are going to do do good.
I mean,
Thanks.
I cannot
so.
see. I cannot see how it goes bad. I really can't.
yeah. So it should be fun. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, just so long Zito doesn't bring up like the computer.
yeah.
He's
Well,
like,
that's-
this would be better with computers.
They should really have
Sensors.
sensor rash guards. That way.
Sensor rash guards. Get the ref a sensor rash guard as well.
Dan, can we cut Mike too?
Cut his mic. It's like when you give the kid the
I'll take
controller,
it
it's
from
not
here.
plugged in.
Yeah.
You give the kid.
I'll take it from here. Sorry about that.
That's pretty good.
Brian, how long have you been training for?
About a year and a half.
He said a year and a half.
Did you say it? Was that on or
That was
off? air?
on.
I
That
can't.
was on air, man.
I can't remember anymore.
Oh man,
Dude, my memory's terrible too.
Come on, dude. Where's your blue belt at? How often are you training? Once a week? Once a month?
God, like
Is
once
it-
or twice a month at this point.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. For the first year, I was training like 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian
When
was in there
summer
getting
hits, I moved.
getting his work in. Yeah.
Okay. Good. I'm gonna need you to up your game. I want
Yeah,
to see
well,
you in there
I mean,
about 3 days a
I'm
week.
probably moving to Chicago here.
Are you?
In next couple months after graduating.
Okay.
So wherever you guys train, maybe.
where part of Chicago you're moving to?
I'm not sure yet. I'm looking at maybe Lakeview or Lincoln Park.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of gyms, man. Lots of gyms
Yeah.
to choose.
Tons of gyms.
That's
to
what it
choose
seems
from.
like.
Yeah, that's what
Best-
I would do if I were you. I would bounce around,
Bounce
to
around.
10 different gyms
Absolutely.
and see what
Yeah.
fits you best.
Exactly.
You know,
I like the way that you do it with the Matt, with the more rolling. Right?
The more
'Cause
rolling,
when John
yeah.
was teaching, it was like an hour of warm up and technique, and then a strict 30 minutes of
A little less rolling.
And the
yeah.
rounds were shorter as well,
Right.
like 5. We do like 6 or 7 usually.
That's
So,
good.
which
Yeah, we do
is
like 6, 7, 5
tougher.
in that. Yeah. But there's a thing. I think John mentioned it to us about doing the shorter rounds. What that does, it kind of forces you to kind of like speed up your game a little bit. Allows
Yeah.
you not to get too complacent. in
Yeah,
one
yeah,
position.
absolutely.
Kind of makes you move.
Once you get a little tired, it's like
Yeah, you're like I got 7 minutes.
You
I
tap,
Can just,
you
I can just
s-
hang out here a little
stand for a
bit,
couple seconds,
But
yeah.
when you got 3 minute and you got to score
You go,
or you
go,
got to
go.
go for that submission, you're gonna
Yeah.
go and speed up.
and
the
you
pace.
roll with more people.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
you roll with your guys that you usually train with, and then
So it's good.
Start
to
branching out
There's,
more.
there's,
Yeah.
I like a variance.
Yeah.
In the beginners class, I think we do 3 minute rounds, and then in the advanced class, we do 6 to 7 minutes, depending upon gi or no gi.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
So Matt, the last time you were here was like exactly a year ago, almost.
Just about,
probably,
yeah.
right?
Just about a year.
So, and you were a brown belt at the time.
I was.
You recently got your black belt. Not recently, but since
8
then.
months ago.
About 8
Yeah.
months. Mm-hmm.
So what has changed since you got your black belt?
Nothing. Just
Still kicking ass.
Still kicking ass.
Still
dude.
trying to
It's like-
compete a lot. Train hard.
film crews.
Film crews. Yeah, no. Yeah, just trying to compete a lot. I spent the first couple months or not the year, the last couple months of last year, 2017, doing a lot of the IBJJF tournaments because obviously there's like you need a certain amount of points to do some of these tournaments that you want to do. I didn't do pans, but would have been pans. Didn't do Euros, would have been Euros. Worlds, I will do Worlds. And it just
How does that work? How the points work?
it's
like
just
that?
there's just a point system. They depreciate over time. So if you stop competing as the years go by, your points are just going to keep depreciating. You're going to go lower and lower on the rankings.
only at black belt.
Only at black belt. There's a ranking system for everybody,
Sure.
but it only matters at black belt because
Do previous points?
your belts
you get-
your points do not transcend your belt.
don't
So
transcend,
if you have 100 points at brown, when you get your black, you're reset at 0.
see.
The benefit to having a lot of points is that you're going to get seeded at the big tournaments. You want to be seeded well because if you're seeded poorly, and the goal is to win the tournament. The mindset is to go. You're going to go through everybody eventually, but you just have a lot more freedom if you're seeded really well and you get
path of least resistance.
Yeah, exactly. You get some fights to get your feet wet. You get like, you don't have to fight a monster on day one. And it also gives you, so a lot of people are unaware of this or if you're a black belt, you should be aware of this, but obviously Worlds is for black belts 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. And Sunday is quarterfinals, semis, finals. But you have to get to the quarterfinals. Not all the brackets start in quarterfinals. Some of them do, some of the smaller ones. But you have to fight your way into there. And a lot of guys cut weight. And if you're going to cut weight, you don't want to be fighting, monsters.
You don't want Keenan Cornelius first round.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly it. And like I said, the goal is to go through everyone. But yeah, you don't need the number 1 seed guy first round, especially if you're cutting weight. And so having a really good ranking, in my eyes, it gives you the option it gives you more weight classes options because you can if you have a really nice ranking, you can cut weight, and not have to worry about fighting a monster just to get to day 2.
Who dictates? You get to tell them who you want to fight, or they?
No, there's a bracket that's written, and I actually don't know much about this, but I know there's a bracket written, and I believe a lot of the heads of the bigger teams are there when they write the bracket.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there's a proper seeding, but I think because at the top, so the rule is the seeding comes into play, but world champions at the adult black belt level are seeded over any seed. So the number 1 seed.
Right.
This is my understanding. I could be wrong. So for example, you have multiple world champions at black light. You have Michael Legny, Lucas Uppery, other guys, and so when you seed these guys, they're all even almost.
Yeah.
They're all multiple world champions, and so when you seed them, there needs to be some other way, and basically everybody's coaches, the big team coaches are there, and they argue over who gets seated where, and there's going to be harder brackets than others, and that's where having a serious coach comes into play because your coach is going to know, this other really good guys on the other side, but you know what? This bracket is written this way. This one's written this way. Why don't we be on this bracket? Because we've beaten this guy before. We've never beaten this guy. You know what I mean? And so that comes into play. It becomes very specific, and it's not a problem. I'm not there yet. I'm still at the get a really nice seating so that you can make it to day 2 of Worlds. But eventually it plays a big role. But the seating's important. Also, it's just a personal goal. Like, I want to get a really nice seating in my first year because or a really nice ranking, because when you get really high up in there, you know, the top 50, it's like everybody in there is a monster. Everybody is relatively jiu-jitsu famous. And so to get in that company, you know, does it mean you're better than everybody who you're ranked ahead of? Absolutely not. Does it mean you're worse than everybody who's ranked ahead of you? Nope. But it's just name recognition. People are going to go on that list. They're going to glance, see who's ranked where. They're going to see you. You're going to be like, oh, this guy competes a lot, does pretty well. So I spent the first 6 months basically doing those. And then the UAE came out with, you know, their quota for how you can win a trip to Abu Dhabi. And it was my goal to go to Abu Dhabi. And previous years, it's you basically go to one of these tournaments and you double gold. You have to double gold. There's a light and heavy open weight, and you'll win a trip. But they stopped doing that because obviously what happened is you just go to a place where you really feel confident you can win, and you just do the one tournament. But now they have their own ranking system, and there's a certain amount of people from each nationality based on the rankings that gets an invite to Abu Dhabi. And so it forces people to do multiple of their events if you want to even have a chance. So I just was like, well, you know, I'm going to do, you know, I'm a first year black belt. I'm not Buchecha. You know, I can't win any bracket I go into. So I'm going to do all these. I plan on doing all these because I'm sure I will have tough brackets at most of these tournaments. And as I kept doing them, I was reading the fine print, and there's a really nice prize for being the top North American. And so I was like, oh, let me see how this goes. And so I won 1 or 2, and I was like getting up there, and I was like, okay, I have a shot at this. Let me see. And then I won the 3rd one. I think it was New York, and then Canada, 4th. And then I'm the number 1 North American now. And I was like, okay. So I went to London. I didn't win London, but I scored some points there. And so now I got my trip to Abu Dhabi. I'm the top North American. So if I can do well enough with a World Pro, I'll get this, you know, substantial amount of, you know, cash for my troubles, for the, you know, money I put in winning the trip.
Right.
And that's pretty much what I've been focused on. And now,
And when is this?
Abu Dhabi will be April like 23rd to 28th or something. Yeah, it's pretty soon. It's pretty soon. And then and I've already like got my ticket and everything, and because they provide all that stuff. That's the trip everybody tries to, you know, get. It's you get your airfare, you get the tournament covered, they put you up in their really nice hotel, and then they give you 3 meals at a really good buffet. Nice. Yeah, it's this great deal. I went for the first time last year. It was awesome. But now that I've kind of got that, you know, under control, obviously just did the fight to win. I want to do more fight to wins.
You're competing now. Aren't you a little nervous about getting injured before this big thing in April? Or
no, honestly, no, it doesn't bother me. Honestly, I'm
just thinking because you got so much money invested in going there.
Sure.
Month out, you're just like still like throwing it all on the line.
Yeah,
that's fucking impressive, man.
I think if you worry about that,
yeah.
You know, if you hype these events are important, but if you hype them up, especially now, it's my first year, you know, I need to do a lot, because if I don't do a lot, and I see this a lot with adult black belts, is they get promoted and then they kind of get their feet wet, and it's discouraging for everybody. My second match I fought at black belt, I fought Lucas Barbosa, his monster from Matos.
Yeah.
He just closed out Pans,
right,
and he beat the shit out of me. And a lot of people get discouraged by that kind of stuff, and it was discouraging. I was like, God damn, he's so good. I pretty much had nothing for him. Like,
how do you win?
He beat me like 15-0, killed me, passed my guard multiple times, and then I fought Keenan. So I fought another match in the open weight and got a sub, and then I fought Keenan and had a really good match with Keenan, and that was like the opposite of discouraging. I was like, okay, cool, like that was awesome. Like I felt him, and he's really good, but I can hang with him, and you know, it's like that give and take. But then I fought Keenan like 2 months later in New York, and he crushed me. You can't in the first year, you can't let that kind of stuff get to you. You literally can't care. You literally just have to get out there. And like I said, I see so many adult black belts, they get beat up a few times, and maybe not the first time. They don't break and give up after the first time, but they do 3, 4, ass beatings. And then it's like, I'll just, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do it. You know what I mean? But like everybody's getting their ass beat. If there's only a few people who, if you look at their career, their first year at black belt wasn't at least a little bumpy, at least a little. There's a few guys, but everybody else, they had to go through it and kind of get beat up a little bit. And, and the guys that you're still hearing about, they worked through it. So I'm just trying to get just a heavy schedule. The week before Abu Dhabi, I have a super fight in Des Moines with Josh Neer. I think he's a black belt. He might still be a brown belt, but
Josh Neer.
Josh Dentist.
Josh the dentist.
Damn.
The dentist.
That name in a while.
There's a event. A couple of Chicago guys have done it before, and a bunch of guys are actually. Alex Rajicic is in there. I hope I'm saying his name. I'm probably butchering his last name, but you all know who I mean. He's in there. It's called Subspectrum. Jordan Pietzman puts it on. Super cool dude. It's Des Moines, so it's like about 2 hours west of us. We're in Iowa City, but he'll do like this 155 like tournament. I think it's 16 guys. It's like no gi, no time limit, sub only for like $2,000 and some other stuff. Yeah. And then he is also putting on a super fight card. And then he's also, it's really cool, he's doing these gi IBJJF rule set open weights where it's you bring your money and you register, and then the winner takes all. And then he's going to put some more stuff behind it, like for the black belt open weight. Like he'll have some sponsors throw in some cash. So I'm doing that. So I'll fight in this little bracket with.
Is this in gi or no gi?
It's gi.
So I'll fight Josh Neer
in the gi.
In the
really?
gi.
That's late. That's like later in the day, and then like earlier in the day, I'll do like 2 or 3 fights with these other black belts who are signed up. I don't know who signed up in the division, but we'll do these fights with the IBJJF rule set, winner take all the money. And then I'll do a super fight with Neer where obviously it's like more super fighty. I'll get paid to win and paid more to win by sub. And and that'll be the week before Abu Dhabi. And I'll go to Abu Dhabi like the next 2 days. Yeah.
How old are you?
25.
Fucking beautiful. Beautiful. 25, man.
Yeah.
So good.
And then after that, we'll have the fight to win here in Chicago. So I'm hoping to be on there and possibly be on the one the week later in Denver.
Fight to win Chicago is in when? Is it
May 5th. May 5th. Yep.
Okay.
That's what they have on their schedule. And then after that, I'll probably take 2 weeks off and just chill and try to get ready for Worlds, do Worlds. And then, I've been a black belt for 1 year and I'll reassess the situation. I like write my goals out 1 year at a time and just focus on that 1 year. Yeah.
How's your bracket looking for the Chicago Open this weekend?
I actually just have one guy. Okay. His name is Orlando Montiero. He's very good. He won Euros at medium heavy, I believe. We fought before. He beat me at the LA Grand Slam by ref's decision.
Okay.
And so I'm really excited for the match.
You got a tough match.
Yeah, he's very good. And I'm really excited because, like I said, we fought before. It was close. When we fought before, it was one of those where the guy was very good, and I was like, ready to fight, but I was like, I don't know. Like, this guy's very good. He might cream me. He might destroy me. And that wasn't the case. So now I'm like, I kind of know what I'm dealing with. I think he knows what he's dealing with too. So it's double-edged sword. But I think it'll be a good match. But just that, and then we'll do the open weight. I mean, I'm going to do the open weight, and it's Gutenberg, Dante. I'm sure Jared Dopp, if he does the tournament, he'll do the open weight. Bunch of other good guys. Yeah. So I'm sure regardless of how Orlando's mine match goes, we will both do the open weight. So there'll be some killers in the open weight. I'll have
full
match.
bracket.
Yeah, I'll have, the open weight will be tough action. Yeah. Obviously Gutenberg just came in second in the Pans open weight, lost to Low. Yeah. Dante's always really good. So tons of guys. David Garmo's a monster. I think Gianni Grippo's coming. He's doing lightweight. He doesn't always do the open weights. So if he does the open weight, he'll just be another huge name in the open weight. If he doesn't, whatever. It's already big. Yeah. So, but I'm excited.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Is Hinger coming to town?
No.
No, he's not registered.
He's not registered?
So if he is, he's not competing. Yeah.
Man, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
so what are your goals at Worlds?
At Worlds, it's to win, but at the same time, it's like I understand. I'm not naive. I know I'm a first year black belt, and Worlds is Worlds. Yeah. So I'm just gonna go in there. Honestly, my goal is to get to day 2. win a couple matches.
So how big is your bracket for?
I'll probably do medium heavy. I'm sure it'll be 16 to 20 if I had to guess. There might be more.
Okay.
So I'm sure I'll have to win 1, if not 2 matches to get to day 2. And then that final 8 in day 2. Maybe 3 matches on day 1. I don't know, depending how big. No, probably 2.
Yeah.
That final 8 guys, that's going to be monsters, and to be in there is going to be dope. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure whoever I fight will be ridiculously good.
And when you went out to Worlds this last time as a brown belt, how many was in your bracket?
Oh man, I don't even remember. Maybe like 40. It was brown middle, so it was a pretty big bracket. 40 or 50.
I thought you had like 60 guys.
Yeah, maybe it was 60.
Weird.
I don't even. Yeah. Middle's pretty popular,
Yeah.
so throughout the belts at Adult Worlds, middle and light are usually pretty big.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how do you weigh that? Because it's like, brown is a lower belt rank than black, obviously, but the bracket's twice as big. So it's like,
Right.
which is harder to win?
Same amount of fights though,
No.
regardless, right?
No. Because if you have less at black, if the difference is 6 people in the bracket, you'll have the same amount of fights probably. But it's not.
20, it's 20
Yeah, it's probably.
people,
I would say it's twice. It's usually going to be more than twice. I would be willing to bet that brown middle this year will be twice the size, if not more,
right.
and black middle this year. I could be wrong, but I think that.
Yeah,
Plus,
but the level of black is going to be so much more.
It is.
than brown.
The thing about Worlds, especially not black belt, is there's no like qualifying process.
No requirement.
No requirement, right? At
Gotcha.
black now to do Worlds, I think it's 50 points. So all those guys who are in there, they have 50 points in the IBJJF. And granted, it's, for a lot of people, it's not hard to get those
Yeah.
points, but for a lot of people, it's impossible. And that's just going to be, there's a skill
Right.
threshold where you're going to struggle to do it, or you're going to do it kind of, pretty easily.
But are there people out there that look for these tournaments that are like no one's in them?
Yeah, all the time. And
Just
you'll
point up.
you'll see that more.
They do it, right? Yeah, for sure.
yeah, dude.
You'll see, and honestly, I didn't look for easy matches, but I tried to score all my points in the at the end of last year, because I knew that now it's crunch time, and now there are people throughout the year who are getting promoted randomly, kind of off cycle. Usually, people get promoted either around Christmas or right after Worlds. That's just like among competitors. That's usually those are promotion times, and just a lot. There's a lot of people who need points. People who want better seeding, people who want more points, people who need points for Worlds. And so these brackets, these open brackets, get tougher and tougher as you get closer to Worlds, because it's not that guys procrastinate or anything. It's just like guys believe in themselves, and you should. So a lot of guys are like, oh, I don't need to do any opens. I'm not going to spend a dime until I have to, and then late April comes around, and now you need to grab 50 points. And granted, if you double gold at an open, you're going to get 50 points. But again, a lot of these opens, you can find yourself in a division that might be easier, but most of these open weights will have at least a few good guys.
Right.
Yeah, so it's hard to double gold. You have to, like I said, there's going to be a cutoff where you're either there and you can contend for that, or you're not.
Plus a bracket that's 40 versus 20, it's twice the size. It seems like so much more, but it's really just one match,
Yeah,
right?
It's
Half
really
the guys
not.
are knocked out
Yeah.
after the first round.
And then you also factor in, and that's what I was going to say about the brown belt, is you factor in the filler, the guys who, they're not going there to win. They're just going there to do Worlds. And there's a lot of those guys, at all the belts. Not so much at black. There's not many black belts who are going there just to mess around, participate. Yeah. A lot of people are going there, even if it's far-fetched. Like I said, I'm a first-year black belt. It's far-fetched. I wouldn't bet on me. It's far-fetched for me to win Worlds. But am I going there to win? Am I going to train my ass off and put all my resources into training? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so at brown belt, you don't have that. You have a lot of guys just kind of participating. And so, if you think half of them are participating, half of them are going to get knocked out that first round by the guys who are really invested. And then now you have pretty much the same size bracket. So it's all kind of relative. It's hard to compare like that. People kind of try to do that, but it's tough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough game. It's definitely a tough game. There's a lot of angles. The IBJJF doing what they do by putting those tournaments on, requiring the points. It's fucking brilliant business.
It's good. And now they have to have
nice.
now the purple belts have to register and get a registration
Right.
card, pay that extra fee.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just get how many, figure out how many purple belts do do a single tournament in the year and just multiply that by what's the fee, 25, I bet you they'd
Do you
make.
have one? Yeah.
No.
You have to get one then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be like, they probably make an extra $1 million off of it over the course of the year. I would say maybe more. That's a lot of money,
Brilliant.
and it doesn't cost them anything.
What, to send out a laminated little
Yeah,
thing?
it doesn't cost them anything, and it's not like they're offering an upgrade to the product. It's not
Right.
like they're like, oh, pay this extra money, we're gonna
Discount your 10% off.
yeah,
whatever.
or we're gonna invest in new mats. It's like they're literally like, oh yeah, you just have to have this membership now. It's just a membership.
Right.
It doesn't really matter,
Yeah.
Give us something.
Yeah.
Like, tell me you're getting rid of Flow and you're starting your own stream. Or where's my million going?
Well, I just remember they did actually have something. IBJJF TV. They had it maybe 2012, 2013. I remember Budo Jake would commentate for it.
Oh, wow.
You can find them on YouTube. They're like 20-minute episodes. They would cover random opens. They did like 3 or 4. They'd go, they'd record some matches, focus on some of the black belt matches, interview some of the guys. But that quickly fizzled out. That wasn't a thing for more than like a month or two.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like to see a reality jiu-jitsu show.
A reality jiu-jitsu show.
I would.
Someone tried that, I think.
Who?
Like Ultimate Fighter House
Yeah.
type of thing?
Yeah.
So they didn't just do something like that. I know a guy in Ohio named Robbie Maloff did like a jiu-jitsu vacation for like jiu-jitsu people. Like they didn't record it, but they just like had this jiu-jitsu vacation where they like rented a house and like trained. So I'm sure if you threw a camera in there, it would get very close to what your idea is. But if you took it a step further, you put a bunch of people who are going to compete against each other for a big prize. I'm sure that'll raise the stakes and make it kind of it more
did you listen
interesting.
to that podcast with Rogan and Yoel Romero?
I didn't.
So
Probably pretty good.
basically- Yeah, it was pretty good. But what they do in Cuba is they put these wrestlers together and they got to live, eat, and train, right? And the higher ranked you are, the more food you get.
Oh, I like that.
And the better living.
And the
That's
better
pretty
living
good.
quarters, right? You listen to it, right?
Very nice.
Yeah. So, and then you have to train with these same guys who are not eating as much as you, right?
Right.
And then they know your injuries, they know and it's a fucking, like, think about that environment.
dog eat dog.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You got to stay top dog because you're getting 3 meals a day.
Right.
Good food.
Right.
And that guy who's 2 steps down from you.
He's
is
hungry.
Hungry.
He's
Yeah,
hungry.
And he's coming at you. And,
That's,
it's fucking crazy.
I can see,
That's so insane.
I can see how that kind of thing produces great wrestlers, but I can also see how that destroys the potential of other great wrestlers. You know what I'm
It
saying?
could, yeah, for sure.
Like it's literally dog eat dog. Like
Yes.
only one guy's going to come out of there on top, and everybody else is going to fall.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting.
They
That's pretty ruthless, though.
They did produce a guy who beat Kill Sanderson
They
twice.
also are. This is the thing, though. Let me actually touch upon this. I don't know much about wrestling, but I've become more in touch with wrestling as I've lived with Iowa. And like I said, the legend James Kelly, drilling partner, he knows too much. He told me, Cubans are there. There's speculation that they've thrown matches for paydays, and there's a lot of speculation about that match. And I'm not saying he said that. He just told me, he was like, the Cubans are known for throwing matches for paydays. That's a thing.
Did Kale through the match?
No, no, because
I
Yoel.
thought Yoel beat Kill Sanderson.
Yeah, and then he lost to him somewhere else.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of speculation that they're
That's got the
dirty.
inside scoop.
It's interesting.
Living
Yeah.
in Wrestlingville over there.
Yeah.
Wrestling bill.
So
Yeah.
how is your wrestling coming along? I mean, you're in Iowa. I mean,
Again,
it's so synonymous with the sport.
Jim runs a wrestling class, and I try to do it whenever I'm in town.
Okay.
It's a lot more like technical drilling, where we're gonna like he'll teach us the proper technique. We don't do a lot of wrestling, and if I wanted to get good at wrestling, I'd need to do that. I understand that, but just on the technical wrestling alone, I've learned a lot, and so I have him with me a lot. Like I'll train with him a lot, so I'll pick his brain a lot because he has a lot of knowledge. So he'll help me out. I'm definitely getting better at like wrestling. Like I'll wrestle here and there. Will I come out and blast double? people at the Open. Oh, maybe. But
Stay tuned.
but I can't say.
But I mean, like the path that you're heading down now, I mean, you're definitely going to go out for ADCC next time it's around, right?
Probably try. Yeah.
Okay.
And wrestling is a big part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly,
Got a great resource there.
Yeah, my plan is to. So Jim runs a Eastern Iowa Wrestling Club. It's obviously a club, so they get kids and teens wrestling. It kind of works as a feeder to the university, but it's also just helping kids get better at wrestling and win state titles.
Right.
And Jim was like, "You could always come and wrestle with some of these kids," and I was like, I could, and I want to like have this guy record like me training for ADCC and like wrestling with like 12-year-olds.
And they're beating your ass.
like beating down 12-year-olds. Yeah,
Or getting beat by 12
or
year olds.
getting
For
beat.
sure.
Yeah,
right?
or getting
That's
beat.
it. That's
Yeah,
it.
Scored on.
That's that farm strength. Too.
yeah, yeah.
Iowa's different, man.
Yeah, it
they
is.
They make different humans there.
They do. And it's not even Iowa. I think I don't know. It's wrestling produces. It just produces people who are just freakishly strong. Again, reference Jim. Jim was telling me, obviously, Spencer Lee, NCAA champion. He's from Iowa. He's from Pennsylvania, but he wrestles for the Hawks. And Jim was just telling me, like, he looks like a little guy, does not look that strong, but if he grabs you're getting grabbed by a man. And it is something else. Like, and that's all those guys. A lot of those guys, even the little guys wrestling at like 125, they will grab you. And he's like, it is unreal.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how strong some of these guys are. And then you think about the heavyweights, you know what I mean? And it's like, how strong they are. Because like a little guy would grab you and you'd be like, oh my God, you're really strong for a little guy. A heavyweight will grab you and like pick you up and throw you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's crazy to think about how strong some of these guys
Different
are.
level of strength.
Like Kyle Snyder probably is like the strongest human being on earth. Like he could probably literally like run through a brick wall.
Right.
Yeah. Just when you look at him, you're like, Jesus.
Yeah,
a tank.
He may not be able to bench press the most, but he could throw the guy who can.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he could probably break the guy who can in half.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's way cooler.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right? You ever see those memes online where it's like this juiced out muscle head in the gym, and it's like guy who looks like a monster, and then like next to him they'll have like a Meow brother or something.
Yeah.
It'll be like guy who could rip that monster's limb off. Right.
Yeah. Or it's like the big muscular guy, like What the Untrained Fear, and then it's like Ryan Hall holding a puppy, What the Trained Fear, It's pretty good.
That's funny.
Yeah. This is good memes.
Nikki Ryan's facing
Gio Martinez. Yeah, I think that's
Kazai. Is that what that is?
Kasai, I think. Kasai, yeah. Very intriguing matchup. Yeah.
It is.
A lot of shit has been talked, obviously, by Gordon, so we'll see if Nikki backs it up. But
So what's the
Kasai,
rule
that's
set
a
for
great
Kasai?
card.
It is a good card. Yeah.
they do something different.
I don't even know.
They might have, I believe they have points. So the guy who won their tournament last time was Renato Canuto, super dynamic, mostly IBJJF guy.
He's going against Eddie Cummings, right?
He's going against Eddie Cummings, but he beat a lot of really good guys. I believe Grippa was in that bracket. Gary Tonin was in that bracket. Celcio Vinicius was in that bracket. Like random, like IBJJF legend. And he won with really dynamic wrestling, and I think, and like crazy flying submissions. Like I don't know if you guys have watched him, but that's his like game. It's like super crazy dynamic wrestling and like ridiculous flying submissions. And his game is great too, but like those are his like strong points. Yeah. And so I because he won with those traits, I want to say there were points involved, but I don't know what they were. I don't think the Gio Nikki. Maybe it's not even, I don't even think it's the same as, it might be special. Like I'm pretty sure, because Gordon got it set up, and I'm pretty sure he was talking like sub only, no time limit.
It's a super fight.
Yeah, so it's going to have its own rules. I'd be willing to bet it's true.
So it's a tournament-based fight? So it's kind of
Their
like
tournaments. Their tournament's not. There's just super fight. They have an 8-man tournament. It's got DJ Jackson, Dante Leon, Mateo Teniz, Boogeyman Martinez, Nick Calvanese.
Oh, okay.
oh man, who else?
So Eddie
Mike
Cummings,
Perez.
Eddie Cummings is a separate.
They're separate. They're doing super fights.
Super fight.
They're
Ah,
running.
okay.
They got that 8-man bracket. And they're running
So
these
it's
super
8-man
fights as well.
bracket, and it's kind of like EBI. EBI does
Right,
16 with a couple super fights.
Yeah.
in there. Ah, okay. So
Pretty much. These.
Do you have to sign exclusively with them? Or do they do
I don't
contracts
know
like
about
that?
Kasai. I know the only people who I know you have to sign exclusive are ACB.
So the only way you get to fight Gordon Ryan in the gi is if you sign with ACB.
Yeah, I think so. I
you
think
gonna
so.
do that then?
I think so.
But,
Okay.
yeah,
I think
do
so.
that.
That's the only way, right?
Hey,
the only way.
Do you know what the purses are for that? I mean, have you heard? through
I've
the
heard.
grapevine?
I've heard. I won't name names, but I know someone who fought on the last card got 13 to show, 13 to win.
Wow. And now is that not
That was
including signing bonus, or
I don't know if
is it-
there was a signing bonus on that. They were already signed.
Because I need to know all these things.
Yeah,
Matt.
I can't name
need to know
drop.
what everyone
But I
makes.
can't name drop, but that I can. But this is only what I've heard. But my sources, I think my sources are kind of credible.
Yeah.
But 13 to show, 13 to win. That was pretty high profile. That was important though. That wasn't just the
I
tournament.
need you to get back to me on the signing
Yeah,
bonus.
I gotcha on the
Okay.
signing bonus. Yeah, but I want to say they. It seems like they pay well. I
there's-
don't think Gordon would sign an exclusive contract unless they paid well.
Right.
So
Didn't he say he signed an exclusive contract, but in like with a clause that he could also do EBI and ADCC or something like that?
I mean, it's possible. I don't know.
No, that he could do Worlds and ADCC.
I don't think they would. I know already that they don't have a problem with doing those.
Okay.
Because the both Meows were signed to ACB when they did ADCC, and I don't think anybody
Would sign
makes
that.
you sign. No one is offering a contract that says you can't do Worlds. No one's doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Worlds is everybody does Worlds. It's just
Right.
how it is. As it becomes more competitive, I could see people.
Doesn't it look bad for like EBI?
What do you mean?
Like
How so?
Gordon Ryan is like, I don't even give a fuck about coming back and defending this belt or doing anything with EBI again.
Yeah, but it's
yeah.
in that point, and it's also a little bit disrespectful. Like that got him there, kind
Sure,
of. That,
sure,
like,
sure.
put him on the map.
Yeah.
And it's like, thanks, see ya,
By
bye.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, he's won it multiple times now. 3 times, I think,
Then,
3 or 4.
yeah, and then you gotta look at that, right? So he's kind of like,
Exactly.
You got
This is
nothing
a
for
step
me.
up in competition.
Yeah.
You got nothing for me. You're not bringing me good comp. I mean, although he fought fucking monsters,
Right.
We all know that.
Well, everybody. Well, this is the thing, and this is the truth. EBI is a really hard tournament to win, but Gordon didn't get famous until he won ADCC.
That's
Gordon
true.
was famous for talking shit on Instagram,
Right.
But now Gordon is famous for being one of the best, if not the best, in the world. And you're gonna have really, really informed people saying like, oh, who do you think is the best in the world? Oh, I think Gordon Ryan is the best in the world, or at least one of the best.
Right.
Whereas when you're doing these EBIs, that's not necessarily the case.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if Eddie Cummings had won ADCC, I think you'd hear a lot more talk about, well, you know, would he beat Cobrinha? Would he beat Hoffa? Whereas now, he's almost fizzled away from that a little bit. You know, I mean, Henao Canuto's like only been a black belt for like a year, and he's awesome. But like before, when Eddie was still super hyped, he wouldn't even entertain a match with Canuto because Canuto would be too low level for him. People were like talking about Cobrinha versus Eddie, Hoffa versus Eddie, but that's not happening anymore because Eddie, you know, I think he get sick or got hurt before ADCC and had to pull out, you know, and ADCC takes you to another level. And I guarantee you, if you sat Gordon Ryan down, you were like, when did you blow up? And he was like, when I won ADCC.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, because he was-
because look who he tapped: Muhammad Ali, Cyborg,
Right.
Keenan Cornelius. He tapped Humelu Bell. He passed Hamelu's guard
Craig
and tapped him.
Jones.
Like, are you serious? Yeah. Are you kidding me? Like, oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Then took silver in the open.
In the open weight, and he only lost to Philippe. You know,
right.
Only
But
to
I mean, if you like,
to Philippe, yeah.
look at it-
Philippe has his number, but Philippe's on another level, man. Philippe's one of the best guys in the gi game. Everybody knows that. Philippe tapped Buchecha at ADCC, and Buchecha had a broken hand, I believe, which sucks, but
Yeah,
still.
Gordon was going off at like 18 to 1 or 20 to 1 or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. It was like his odds were. Yeah, so you're right. I
Yeah,
agree with you.
like
I mean, that's when he
ADCC will
got
get you famous in jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Like IBJJF guys are like, okay, yeah. I mean, he's a monster. where, and until you kind of, not until you, I'm like not the judge. I'm just a guy, but like, I don't think, in my eyes, the ADCC and some of these more prestigious, World Pro events and IBJJF events, you have to do them a little bit or win them before you're like on that next level. Yeah. And that's why I think he didn't have a problem, signing a contract that says he's not going to do EBI anymore, because it's done and it's not going to propel him anymore. Honestly, if he just keeps doing them, and not anything else, Craig Jones is going to sneak one past him, beat him, and that's going to be that.
Right. Go out on top. Right.
Yeah, exactly. He did a good job with EBI. Yeah. He'll be an EBI legend when the EBI has a Hall of Fame. He'll go into the Hall of Fame for EBI. Yeah. So
I mean, the life of an athlete is very short. So you're right. If it's not propelling you, you gotta do away with it.
And how silly would he look, at the table with that ACB contract or on the phone with those guys and be like, "Oh wait, I can't do EBI. I'm out. I'm not going to do. Yeah. I'm not going to fight the best guys in the world in the gi."
Because Gordon's probably getting a lot more than 13 and 13.
Probably, it's likely. So. It seems like they tailor those contracts to the athlete, so he might be getting a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah. God, I would love to see Hoffa and Eddie.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
I like to see Hoffa fight anybody.
Yeah.
He's out the game. He knows how bad you want it, and he's not going to give it to you.
Right. It's incredible. Like, do you follow him on Instagram?
Yeah, I see.
Incredible.
Yeah. Science has gone too far, man. Me and my friend Jace in Iowa, we always joke. We'll see the same Instagram video of Hoffa doing something crazy. Be like, it's gone too far. Science has gone too far.
Is it gone too
far? With Hoffa, they've gone too far.
You think it's a little bit of fugazi? You think it's some bullshit?
No, I don't think so. No. I think with anybody else it would be, but not with them.
Not with them.
It's incredible, right?
Another level, right?
Incredible. Yeah, it's on another level.
Like an alien.
And they've created this environment with AOJ where...
It's a perfect name too.
Yeah, it is a great name.
That dude is an artist.
I can't critique one thing that, like, everything they do is like, oh my god,
perfect. Yeah,
you have to comprehend it to critique it.
Like, what the fuck? Everything they do is just beautiful.
Well, it's interesting because it's like they've created this environment. And I've never been to AOJ, but my friend Brick has. He trained there for like a month, and he told they weren't nearly as big as they were now, but they've just created this environment where they have so much talent on the mat that now that they're at a point where they can get better by just training with their guys. Whereas, like, for example, if I just trained with my guys in Iowa, I think I'd get better, but I would not want to compete. Like, I'd still want to compete to fact check myself and make sure I'm getting better and see what else is out there, where it's like, see what else is kind of going on. Whereas Hoffa Hoffa and Guy, they're so confident in the environment they produce. They're like, we don't need to compete. Like, we are producing the best guys. Our
roles in the gym are harder than comp roles.
Harder than most comp roles. And it's true. A lot of their blue and purple belts could probably go and win, the featherweight division at black belt at a lot of these opens. Yeah, it's crazy.
Incredible. Yeah,
it's crazy.
They do it right. Those guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
everything's right.
Everything's
their
right.
Instagram and the layout of the gym, and I mean, it's just
And people hate on it a little bit. They hate on it's like
that's because they're haters.
Yeah, they're haters.
That's all it is. It's the only explanation.
Like, people don't like it, but you gotta appreciate it. It's crazy. No, it is on another level.
They're doing it right. Another Instagram thing I just started following was I just showed Paul today. Kratos Jiu-Jitsu, Kratos Jiu-Jitsu.
Is this an academy somewhere?
No, this is a feed that's amazing. Like, it just shows you everything you want to see.
Live match footage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Clips of all the jiu-jitsu matches.
Okay.
It is like they only have like I think 400 followers, something like that.
Okay.
And I'm like, I stumbled upon them, just searching, and I'm like, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I want to see in my feed.
Yeah. Just clips of matches. Just
show me jiu-jitsu matches. Yeah. I don't really care about selfies or
no one does. No one does.
And I just not my. So I'm just want to see jiu-jitsu because I don't have a lot of time. So if I want to pull up my Instagram feed,
you want to see good stuff
right away.
You want to get bang for your buck.
2 minutes.
Yeah, bang for your buck.
2 minutes to go on this. I'm not an all-day guy. I'm in the car. I'm at a light. Okay, let me look. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm good to go. Yeah. That's what I want to see on my. And I don't have time to see all this. I have Facebook for that.
Right.
The problem is I follow people on Facebook and Instagram, and it's the exact same thing.
You're getting the double whammy.
I miss a lot of good feeds. So now it's like I got my Facebook friends and all those guys, and
your Instagram is for the good stuff.
Instagram is for Just jiu-jitsu.
Just jiu-jitsu.
right.
I see. Nice.
See how much you've learned here today, Matt?
I'm learning a lot.
Learn a
I'm
lot.
really learning a lot.
So what do you think of the new studio? If this is your first time here,
I like it. Yeah, it's super dope. It's super dope. I
It's
like it a lot.
Am I showing the right place? I know I went through a
Yeah.
back door and down an alley
Back
before. Yeah, we're not there anymore.
No.
We've elevated.
No, this is much nicer. Much nicer. It's super dope.
So you got anything you want to promote? Other than when's the film going to be out, guys?
The film?
So it has to be done
Yes, I
April
called it a film.
27th, but it's probably going to go online around May 5th, May 6th.
Yeah.
is what
Why
I'm
does it
thinking.
have to be done? Why is there a deadline?
I'm doing it for an independent study class.
Okay.
So that's when my professor was like, you got to have it done by then.
Right.
But yeah. And then
Okay.
I think, depending on what the music situation is like in it, for the public release, that might change. So that's why I'm going to give myself a couple weeks extra.
Music
to do it.
situation isn't like scoring it, and then so are you going to use actual?
Like,
So you have to
it's-
buy the music then, or pay
No.
royalty or whatever?
With the university thing, it doesn't matter what music I use. Just my professor will see it. But for the public, I don't want to like steal music and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah. And what platform are you guys releasing this on?
it'll be on like YouTube, Vimeo,
Okay.
stuff like that, all over social media. So
Guys
Throw
have
it on Reddit.
Got a name
Yeah.
for it yet?
not yet. Well, my roommate who trains as well pitched inverted.
Jesus.
Because when we watch Matt, it's like he's normal and then he just inverts.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
That's not too bad.
Maybe.
My professor said upside down.
Upside down. It's
But
pretty
I don't
good.
know. Nothing solid. right
Interesting.
now.
Yeah.
Might get sued by the Stranger Things people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Gotta add the music. and stuff.
Yeah.
You got any ideas?
Let me think on that. I'll come up with something.
Yeah.
Are you going to show us some technique?
You
Of
bring a
course.
gi?
I
Matt?
did. I brought a gi. I brought
You
a gi.
know, it was funny because I always tell the guests to bring a gi. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't even need to send this text to Matt, but I'm going to anyway. You know, hey, bring a gi. You know what I mean? So there's like 6 in your trunk. You know.
Yeah. But in terms of stuff I want to plug, just if you're in Iowa or close to Iowa, come train the University of Iowa or Tipping Point Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Cedar Rapids, whichever one you're closest to. Subspectrum Super Fight with Josh Neer on the 21st. Check that out. I'm pretty sure that'll be streamed on Facebook Live.
We're also filming something for that, aren't we?
Yeah, we're also going to do like something very short, maybe some lead up, and then obviously the event itself. I'll have him with me filming, so we'll probably release something shortly after, something quick, just highlighting the event, sort of. Yeah. What else? Sponsors, Albino and Preto.
I'm sorry. What was that? Albino.
It can't roll off the tongue like that. I just
I'm
don't
gonna
have
need
it
you
in
to
me.
work on that.
Yeah, I'll work on that. I'll do it in the mirror. But AMP, BJJT.
Just go straight to AMP.
Yeah, straight to
I'm
AMP.
not even gonna say it.
Revert. Yeah, completely revert to AMP. BJJT's. Obviously, Nick Matria has been helping me since day one. He's the man. Everybody knows Nick here in Chicago. He's a legend. Buy his stuff, support his brand, just roll everything. What else? 50/50 Body Armor. It's a guy in Effingham, Illinois named Chad Hawkins. He trains with Pedigo Submission Fighting. Super cool guy, but he's put out this antibacterial, completely organic soap for grapplers. Okay. Again, it's relatively local. If you're in Chicago, Illinois, it's local. Get a hold of it. He does drops, so it's kind of you got to kind of go to his site and see if he has it at the time, but keep an eye out for his drops, because when they do the drops, the stuff goes quick. So grab it. And just everybody who helps me out: Mark Vives, New Breed, John Gutta, everybody affiliated, all of our affiliates back in Iowa. Everybody who trains, all my buddies. Yeah, everybody. So thank you, everybody. Yeah.
Where can people find you on Instagram?
People can find me on Instagram at Matt W. Leighton, all one word, lowercase. And follow me on Instagram. I post updates about how I do in tournaments, so you can see podium pictures and talk shit to me on Instagram. You can
I already unfollowed
you can talk shit to me on Instagram and tell me you'll beat my ass with a 4-in-1 t-shirt on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Any call outs?
Call outs.
Besides Gordon Ryan. in the key.
Besides Gordon Ryan in the key. In the gi, I really do want to get the fight with Steve Patterson because I thought that would be a really good fight.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good
It
fight,
was
too.
really shitty that he hurt his shoulder because he separated his shoulder really severely, but I separated my shoulder at Brown Belt Worlds in my
saw
first
it.
match.
I was watching your
yeah,
match.
and then I tried to fight through it and it was brutal. I couldn't do it, and I got smoked. But I've like dealt with the rehab of that, and so I know it's shitty. But so I'd like to. I'd like us to fight because that's going to be a dope fight, I think. And I'd like to do it on Fight to Win, but
Battle of the bum shoulders.
yeah, battle of the bum shoulders. First one to break a clavicle, lose. But yeah, it's a little, less of a call out, more of a more. I don't even know what you'd call that, but yeah, that's that.
This was fun, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
It's
for coming
been
in.
awesome. All right, we'll see you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. For more information about Grappler Union Podcast, you could visit us at our website at grapplerunion.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Grappler Union. Please like us on Facebook. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes. And all of our episodes are available on our YouTube channel. Say what?
Be sure to subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe to all that shit. You got to do another take, right? This episode of the Grappler Union Podcast is brought to you by BJJTees. Go to bjjtees.com, enter the promo code Grappler Union, and save 10% off all your jiu-jitsu apparel. Go to bjjtees.com today.
This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by Strychnine Jiu-Jitsu, makers of vintage-inspired tees, hoodies, and rash guards. Go to strychnine.co, that's STRYCH9.co, and use the promo code UNION at checkout to receive 20% off your online order.